Chapter 1538. It was because of Diju's calmness that he did not die even after the inscription formation outside was crushed by the seawater. Instead, he managed to catch his last breath. In the span of 11 breaths, he was severely injured by Hualao. He was on the verge of death, but he did not die. When the seawater bombarded the Seven Treasures Exquisite Pagoda, regardless of whether it was Duan Lingtian, who was hiding and watching the show, or Diju, who was struggling to catch his last breath, they were all sent out immediately. Boy, Diju will remember what happened today. I won't let you go when we meet again. When Duan Lingtian was sent out, he heard Diju's voice that was getting further and further away. The moment Diju was sent out of the Seven Treasures Exquisite Pagoda by force, he crushed a high-grade Divine Strider talisman. His entire being seemed to have transformed into a bolt of lightning, as he disappeared without a trace in just a blink of an eye. A powerhouse above the Saint stage could activate a Dao talisman with his true origin. He did not even need to shout appear. He only needed to channel his true origin into it and crush it. Duan Lingtian could tell that Diju's words were weak. It was obvious that he was severely injured. Moreover, he did not even dare to stay for a moment longer. It was obvious that he was really afraid of Hualao. I must go back now. I must bring Uncle Feng, teacher, and the others away from Half Moon Island, while he's in a state of panic, and has temporarily lost his rationality. Without any hesitation, without even informing the three-legged golden crow, Hualao, in the Seven Treasures Exquisite Pagoda, Duan Lingtian shrunk the Seven Treasures Exquisite Pagoda and put it away. He then rushed back to Half Moon Island as fast as he could. After rushing back to Half Moon Island, Feng Wudao and the rest were overjoyed when they saw him. Let's talk after we leave. Diju might come back anytime. Seeing that Feng Wudao and the rest were about to say something, Duan Lingtian stopped them first. He then waved his hand, and vast true energy swept out and shrouded Feng Wudao and the rest. He then brought them away from Half Moon Island as fast as he could. However, after leaving Half Moon Island, Duan Lingtian did not head south directly to the mortal continent. Instead, they went west and took a big detour before they started heading southeast. The reason he did this was to avoid Diju, who would return after regaining his rationality. Facts proved that Duan Lingtian's concerns were correct. After Diju crushed the Divine Strider talisman and left, he hastily consumed a few healing medicinal pills and recovered some of his injuries. Although the current Diju was no longer as terrifying as he was when he was in his prime, as long as his opponent was not at the Saint stage or above, he was confident he could defeat him. At the same time, the panic and fear in Diju's heart was gradually suppressed by him as he gradually calmed down. Something's wrong. After calming down, he immediately felt that something was wrong. That big bird covered in golden flames doesn't seem to be chasing after us. Could it be that it can't leave the 7-story tower? The more Diju thought about it, the more he was certain of it. At once, regret filled his face. Why didn't I think of this before? Otherwise, even if I couldn't re-enter the 7-story pagoda, I would have been able to kill that brat after I was sent out. The moment Diju thought about Duan Lingtian, he gnashed his teeth in hatred. At this moment, if he still did not realize that the danger he was facing was created by Duan Lingtian, he would have lived his life in vain. Although it was impossible for Diju to think that the 7-story pagoda belonged to Duan Lingtian, he also realized that everything he faced earlier was related to Duan Lingtian. The moment he entered the pagoda, he was tortured by a terrifyingly powerful Saint Beast. In his opinion, with that Saint Beast's strength, it would not be difficult for it to kill that brat called Duan Lingtian. However, that brat was fine even after staying in there for 15 minutes. In fact, even he, Diju, was almost killed after staying in there for over 10 breaths. Although he did not die, he was on his last breath. He could only rely on the Divine Strider talisman to escape when he was sent out. At that time, there was only fear left in his heart. He did not have the time to think too much. Otherwise, he would not have left. Now that he had figured everything out, Diju's eyes flashed with a fierce gleam. Brat, how dare you trick me? If I don't kill you, I, Diju, am a 5-clawed golden dragon of the Imperial Dragons. At this moment, Diju was almost certain that Duan Lingtian had long known about the existence of the gigantic bird in the pagoda and purposely lured him in. As for Duan Lingtian himself, since he was familiar with the situation inside, he could avoid that terrifyingly powerful, strange, gigantic bird immediately and let the gigantic bird deal with him. After figuring all this out, the rage in Diju's heart grew even stronger. Whoosh! At this moment, Diju had already disappeared from his original spot. With his fastest speed, he rushed back to the depths of the sea. However, when he rushed back, there was no trace of Duan Lingtian at all. Even the 7-story pagoda had disappeared without a trace. It seems to be here. Diju arrived at a group of seaweeds and imitated Duan Lingtian by kicking the bottom of the sea. However, he realized that the 7-story pagoda did not appear again. Could it be that the location is wrong? Subsequently, Diju used his fastest speed to kick every corner of the seaweeds. However, the 7-story pagoda still did not appear. Don't tell me that there's a need for some technique to make the 7-story pagoda appear? Diju's face was grave. He could not figure out the reason at all. If Duan Lingtian had seen Diju's series of actions, Duan Lingtian would have burst out laughing. This was because he had only done that to deceive Diju. When he had passed through this sea for the first time, he had already left the 7 treasures exquisite pagoda that had turned into dust here. After that, he had brought Diju back. When he had returned to this place, he pretended to be activating some mechanism while he enlarged the 7 treasures exquisite pagoda with just a thought. His kicking action was just a smokescreen. When Diju realized that he could not make the 7-story pagoda appear, his face turned even graver. Boy, you've completely infuriated me. Since that's the case, there's no need for your friends to continue living in this world. If I kill them now, it won't be considered as breaking the lightning penalty oath that I swore earlier. In his rage, Diju left the depths of the sea as fast as he could and returned to the valley on Half Moon Island. However, when he returned, he soon realized that there was no one in the valley anymore. Everyone had left. Diju, who was unwilling to give up, searched the surroundings, but he still did not discover anything. He immediately headed south. This group of people came from the mortal continent. They must have returned to the mortal continent now. In such a short time, even if that boy comes back, I'll be able to catch up to them in the shortest time, as long as the direction is correct. The moment Diju thought of this, he headed south at full speed. Half an hour later, Diju came to a halt as he muttered to himself with a grave expression. It seems like they didn't head south. Otherwise, with my speed, I would have already caught up to them. Currently, Diju had already appeared near the mortal continent's cloud continent. If I can figure it out, that cunning boy must have figured it out as well. Perhaps he brought that group of people north to the Dao Marshal Saint Land. Subsequently, Diju headed back. After he returned to Half Moon Island, he continued to search north. This time, he relied on his speed to search the north. He searched every inch of the area, not missing a single corner. However, after a few days, he still came up empty-handed. When he returned to his senses and returned to Half Moon Island, he continued to search south of the sea. Duan Lingtian had already brought Feng Wu Dao and the others back to his hometown, the Cloud Continent. If it was any other time, Duan Lingtian would definitely be in a good mood when he returned to the Cloud Continent. However, at this moment his mood was extremely gloomy. He felt as though the sky above his head was dark. Of his 2 fiancées, one was missing while the other was taken away from him by force. The feeling of his heart being hollowed out almost drove him crazy. However, he managed to calm down in the end. At this moment, he could only remain calm. It would be useless no matter how impatient he was. Having lived 2 lifetimes, Duan Lingtian still had this bit of self-control. Little Fei, or should be fine since she's with Little Black and the others. 3 years have passed. Little Black and the others must have broken through to the mortal shedding stage. As saint beasts, apart from their strength, the 3 of them have a perception that far surpasses humans. Half Moon Island has suffered a great calamity. There's only one way for them to go, and that's to look for Xuanai and ask for help. After calming down, Duan Lingtian's thoughts gradually became clearer. The moment he thought of this, he felt relieved. Kerr was taken away by Chi Mei. Based on Chi Mei's attitude toward her, she shouldn't hurt her. Chi Mei is from some Zoroastrianism or something. If I want to look for Kerr in the future, this is the only clue I have right now. Although Duan Lingtian had calmed down, he could not help but feel a stab of pain in his heart when he thought of Kerr. It was obvious that Chi Mei was dissatisfied with the child Kerr was pregnant with. Moreover, from what Chi Mei said, there was another group of people looking for Kerr as well. That group of people might harm Kerr. What kind of background does Kerr have? Duan Lingtian could not figure it out no matter how hard he racked his brains. Duan Lingtian had brought Feng Wu Dao and the others to the 10 Great Dynasties territory at the south of Cloud Continent. They had returned to the Darkhan Dynasty and the Azure Forest Imperial Kingdom under the Darkstone Empire. His final destination was the remote canyon hidden deep in the mountains. It was also the place where the sword saint, Feng Qingyang, had left his ruins. Those who followed him now were people who could rely on him with their lives. Therefore, he did not plan to hide this. Of course, many of those who followed him had come into contact with this canyon before. For example, Xiong Quan, Feng Wu Dao, and Sima had come into contact with this canyon before, and had more or less benefited from it. However, it was the first time Chen Xiaoshui, Nangong, and the Gold Thug had come here. Chapter 1539. When Chen Xiaoshui and the others were attracted by the word sword on the mountain wall, Duan Lingtian said to Feng Wu Dao, Sima, and Xiong Quan solemnly, "The person who left behind this ruin is indeed a legendary figure in the Dao martial saint land. I've already verified this." Although the person who left behind the word sword on the mountain wall had left a message, what he said was just too exaggerated. Let alone Feng Wu Dao and the others. Even Duan Lingtian did not dare to believe it completely. It was only a few days ago that Duan Lingtian realized that Sword Saint Feng Qingyang was indeed an extraordinary figure when he heard Diju's words. Due to this reason, he finally realized the true value of this canyon. When Feng Wu Dao and the other two heard this, they gasped one after another. Since Duan Lingtian said that he had verified it, naturally they no longer doubted it. At once, all of them shifted their gaze to the word sword on the mountain wall in an attempt to comprehend more. Duan Lingtian had brought everyone here, because this was a ruin left behind by Sword Saint Feng Qingyang. Secondly, it was to avoid Diju, the five-clawed golden dragon. He believed that even if Diju came to Cloud Continent and searched the entire Cloud Continent, he might not be able to find them. This was because the word sword left behind by Sword Saint Feng Qingyang had given birth to a strange aura in the valley that could prevent the intrusion of spiritual energy. It could also prevent the owner of the spiritual energy from detecting anything. Due to this reason, he thought of hiding here because it was the safest place. Just like what Duan Lingtian had thought, Diju searched every inch of the way, and soon arrived at Cloud Continent. At this time his injuries had recovered slightly, although he had not recovered to his prime. With his current speed, it would not take long for him to search the entire Cloud Continent. Time passed by quietly. A few months later, Diju carried out a thorough search on Cloud Continent. However, he still could not find any trace of Duan Lingtian and the others. He was exasperated at that moment. In his exasperation, Diju returned to Half Moon Island. With just a wave of his hand, a vast and rolling energy swept across the sky. Like a black cloud pressing down on a city, it shrouded Half Moon Island in an unstoppable manner. Boom, 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 boom. Under Diju's wanton venting, in less than an hour, the vast Half Moon Island disappeared completely from the sea. The original location of Half Moon Island had also become part of the vast ocean. Duan Lingtian. When Diju thought of the purple-clad young man who had deceived him, he clenched his teeth in hatred. However, there was nothing he could do because he could not find him at all. If he couldn't find the other party, no matter how much he hated him, it would be useless. With how cunning he is, it's possible that Yonger was tricked into the pagoda by him and was killed by the strange big bird that was burning with golden flames all over its body. The more Diju thought about it, the more he felt that this was the case. The hatred in his heart for losing his son had also been transferred to Duan Lingtian. He regarded Duan Lingtian as the person who had killed his son. Duan Lingtian, I'll find you sooner or later. At that time, I'll definitely make sure you die a graveless death. After roaring furiously for a while, Diju finally left. The moment he left, he headed north and returned to the Dao Martial Saint land. His destination was the dragons. While he hated Duan Lingtian and wished he could turn Duan Lingtian into ashes, a graceful figure could not help but appear in Diju's mind. The owner of the figure was none other than Qi Mei. Zoroastrianism? I've never heard of such a force before. By right, a force that can give birth to a powerhouse like her shouldn't be a force that is unknown in the Dao Martial Saint land. On the way back, Diju's heart was filled with confusion. Moreover, based on her tone, it seems like she's certain that clan leader knows about the existence of Zoroastrianism. The moment Diju thought of this, he was eager to return. However, he was still very irritated along the way. Naturally, all of this was because of Duan Lingtian. He felt that he was already very careful, but he still fell for Duan Lingtian's trick. This made him feel aggrieved and enraged. When had he Diju ever been tricked like this in his life? Moreover, he was tricked by the person whom he suspected to have killed his son. As a five-clawed golden dragon in the imperial family of dragons, he had a dignity that surpassed his life. How could he stand being tricked like this? Due to this reason, even after he had returned to the dragons, his anger did not subside at all. Clan leader, have you heard of Zoroastrianism before? After returning to the dragons, Diju immediately went to look for the current clan leader of the dragons. Currently, he was the other five-clawed divine dragon among the dragons. The moment they met, he did not beat around the bush and asked, Where did you hear about Zoroastrianism? Almost at the instant Diju's words left his mouth, the expression of the clan leader of the dragons had changed completely. He was terrified, and a hint of fear could be seen in his eyes. Naturally, Diju was shocked by the reaction of the clan leader of the dragons. Oh God! What was the origin of Zoroastrianism that could scare the clan leader to this extent? Clan leader, what's the origin of Zoroastrianism? Diju asked. Tell me, where did you hear about Zoroastrianism? The clan leader of the dragons repeated his question. His tone was heavy, as though the answer to this question was very important to him. Seeing how serious the clan leader was, Diju's emotions were affected as well. Without hiding anything, he told the clan leader about his experience on Half Moon Island. Apart from the 7-story gigantic pagoda, he told the clan leader about everything else, including his encounter with the powerful lady, who claimed to be a member of Zoroastrianism. The reason why he did not tell the clan leader about the 7-story gigantic pagoda was naturally because of his own selfishness. In his opinion, even if Duan Lingtian had tricked him, the 7-story gigantic pagoda was not fake. The power of the 7-story gigantic pagoda, when it sent him out, was extremely powerful. Even if it was him, he would not be able to resist that power at all. Due to this reason, he had never thought that the pagoda belonged to Duan Lingtian. In his opinion, the pagoda was still in the depths of the sea. It was just that he had not found a way to make it appear yet. Right now, he had already regarded everything in the pagoda as his own. He would not allow anyone to lay a finger on it. The relic left behind by Sword Saint Feng Qingyang belongs to me, Diju. Only I, Diju, am worthy to be Sword Saint Feng Qingyang's successor. This was Diju's thought. After hearing Diju's words, the clan leader sighed in relief. It seems like she doesn't blame you, nor did she vent her anger on us dragons. That's good, that's good. At this moment, looking at the clan leader's expression, it was obvious that he still had some lingering fear in his heart. Clan leader, you haven't told me what kind of force Zoroastrianism is. Why are you so afraid of it? Why have I never heard of a force that even you are afraid of? Diju could not figure it out no matter how hard he thought about it. Diju, you're not the clan leader of the dragons yet, so there are some things that I can't tell you directly. I can only say that Zoroastrianism is not something that we dragons can afford to offend. No matter when, even if you're unwilling to bow and scrape before someone from Zoroastrianism, you'll still have to put away your pride as a dragon. The clan leader of the dragons said with a serious expression. Clan leader, do you mean? Zoroastrianism is a secret that only the clan leader of the dragons knows about? Diju sucked in a cold breath. Yes. The clan leader of the dragons nodded solemnly. Actually, it's not just you. Even those old fellows in the clan might not have heard of Zoroastrianism. Of course, nothing is absolute. Perhaps they might have heard about Zoroastrianism from other sources. Remember what I said. No matter how great the humiliation is in front of the people from the moon-worshipping sect, you'll have to learn to endure it silently. This is because you're a five-clawed golden dragon, the next clan leader of the dragons. You must be responsible for all dragons. The clan leader of the dragons continued to remind Diju. The clan leader of the dragons' words that were filled with dread had subtly affected Diju as well. While Diju was curious about Zoroastrianism, he was also wary of Zoroastrianism at the same time. Although he still did not know the details of Zoroastrianism, he had already confirmed one thing. That was, even the dragons could not afford to offend Zoroastrianism. If that's the case, you're still not sure who killed your son? After changing the topic, the clan leader of the dragons asked Diju. Although I'm not too sure. Only that boy called Duan Lingtian would have the motive. Diju's eyes gleamed as he said seriously. Clan leader, I hope that you can help me. I don't expect you to avenge my son, but I hope that you can help me find that person called Duan Lingtian. Upon hearing Diju's words, the clan leader of the dragons frowned. Diju, according to what you said, that person managed to escape from under your nose. Do you think it's so easy for an ordinary clansman to find him? Even if they found him, would they be able to keep an eye on him? Clan leader, I let him escape because I was careless. Diju explained. Due to his selfishness, he did not mention anything about the 7-level gigantic pagoda at all. Due to this reason, in the clan leader of the dragon's opinion, Duan Lingtian had escaped from under Diju's nose. Diju, you should know that it's impossible for the clansman to help you. In the eyes of the clansman, that person who killed your son was merely helping the dragons get rid of evil. He's the dragon's benefactor. Do you think the clansmen will help you deal with their benefactor? The clan leader of the dragons shook his head. Clan leader, you don't have to mention that he killed my son. You can just say that you're looking for him. As for the excuse clan leader, feel free to come up with any. Upon hearing the clan leader's words, Diju became anxious right away. Although he was powerful, he was only one person after all. Although there were not many people in the dragons, they were scattered all over the Dao Martial Saint land, and had a mature intelligence network. It was much easier for the dragons to look for a person, than for him to look for a person. What? You want me to lie to the clansmen? The clan leader of the dragon's face turned grave, as he asked in a dignified manner. Clan leader, if you think this is a lie, then so be it. Diju had a fearless expression on his face. What if I refuse? Chapter 1540. If you refuse, clan leader, there's nothing I can do about it. However, I, Diju, will leave the dragons and become a sectless cultivator. Upon hearing the words of the clan leader of the dragons, Diju said with a grave expression, Are you threatening me? The clan leader of the dragons asked in a deep voice as his eyes gleamed coldly. You can think whatever you want, clan leader. In order to find Duan Lingtian, Diju was ready to risk everything. Naturally, this was also because he was not worried that the clan leader of the dragons would refuse him. Good. Very good. The clan leader of the dragons laughed out of anger. Then he waved his long sleeve and sent Diju flying. Get lost. Thank you, clan leader. Diju, who was sent flying, was not enraged at all. Instead, he reached out his hand to wipe the blood from the corner of his mouth, and said with a smile. He knew very well that the clan leader had agreed to his request. After all, he was the only 5-clawed golden dragon other than the clan leader of the dragons. He was destined to be the next clan leader of the dragons. If he left the dragons and became a sectless cultivator, it would mean that the dragons would be leaderless in the future. As the current clan leader of the dragons, naturally, he would not allow such a thing to happen. After thanking him, Diju turned around and left. He knew that if he continued to stay, he would only be asking for trouble. Duan Lingtian, I'll be waiting for our next meeting soon. As Diju muttered to himself, He narrowed his eyes as a cold gleam flashed across them. When the clan leader of the dragons ordered all the dragons in the Dao Martial Saint Land to look for a young man called Duanling Tian. Duanling Tian was still in the Cloud Continent. Duanling Tian, on the other hand, was still on Cloud Continent. He was staying in the remote canyon, where Sword Saint Feng Qingyang had left his inheritance. However, Duanling Tian was currently sitting cross-legged in the air, facing the word sword on the mountain wall. His eyes were closed, and a sharp aura was faintly exuding from his body. He sat there like a sword that had not been drawn out of its scabbard. Young master has been sitting like this for half a year. Will something happen to him? Within the canyon, Xiong Quan asked worriedly. His aura is stable, and he doesn't seem to be in trouble. Moreover, during this half a year, the sharp sword aura on his body has become denser and denser. Come to think of it, he must have comprehended the word sword. At the same time that Feng Wudao spoke, he looked at the word sword on the mountain wall. He can't be judged by common sense, Sima Changfeng said. He had always had confidence in Duanling Tian, whether it was in the past or now. At this moment, Sima Changfeng looked at Duanling Tian with a complicated gaze. Among the people present on the scene, he and Duanling Tian were the first to come into contact with Duanling Tian. He had personally witnessed Duanling Tian from a young man to today, standing at the peak of Cloud Continent. He had even left Cloud Continent to make his way to the faraway Dao Martial Saint Land. Previously, when Duanling Tian left with Diju, there was a slim chance of survival. Even he was not certain that Duanling Tian would be able to return. At that time, his heart was filled with worry. However, in the end, Duanling Tian still managed to return. This made him realize how lucky Duanling Tian was. Due to this reason, although Duanling Tian's situation during this half a year was a little strange, he did not think there was anything wrong with it. After all, Duanling Tian was never a person who could be judged by common sense. He's awake! Chen Xiaoshui suddenly cried out. At once, everyone's eyes shifted to Duanling Tian. At this moment, Duanling Tian had already stood up. He stood in the air, and his entire body began to sway. In the beginning, he did not seem to be moving at all. Later on he seemed to be moving. Every single movement he made caused the air to tremble. He's not awake. He seems to have entered a state of enlightenment. Feng Wudao exclaimed in a low voice. At this moment, the others also noticed that from the beginning until the end, Duanling Tian did not open his eyes at all. It was to the extent that he was not affected by external objects at all. He was minding his own business as he moved. Every single movement he made seemed to be very smooth. For the entire day and night, Duanling Tian's movements did not stop at all. It was as though he did not know the concept of fatigue at all. Although Duanling Tian did not have a weapon in his hand, everyone present could see that Duanling Tian was deducing his sword technique with every move he made. A set of sword technique that seemed to be moving at all from the beginning to the stage where it seemed to be moving at all. However, in the end, Feng Wudao and the others could not understand it at all. This was because they noticed that Duanling Tian's sword technique was actually getting worse and worse as he practiced. In the end, it was even worse than when he was moving at all. In the end, it was only the most basic moves, slashing, stabbing and slicing. What's going on? The crowd who had been observing Duanling Tian for the entire day could not help but look at each other when they saw this. No one could tell what was going on with Duanling Tian. In the end, Gold Thug muttered softly. Could it be that this is what they mean by turning the simple into the complicated, and the complicated into the simple? Gold Thug's original form was a golden hellhound, and the golden hellhound clan had a long history of inheritance. Therefore, Gold Thug knew more than anyone else present. However, not many people heard Gold Thug's mutterings. This was because everyone's attention was now on Duanling Tian. It seems like he's going to sit down again. At the same time that Nangongyi exclaimed softly, Duanling Tian, who was high up in the sky, also stopped moving and sat down with his legs crossed in the air again. At the same time, the crowd noticed that Duanling Tian placed his hands on his knees, as though he was holding a sword. However, there was no sword in his hands. There was only air in his hands. I don't understand. Chen Xiaoshui shook his head with a puzzled expression on his face. In fact, he was not the only one who did not understand. Most of the others did not understand as well. Gold Thug was the only one who stared at Duan Lingtian's back, as though he was deep in thought. Duan Lingtian was unaware of everything that was happening outside. He was currently in a strange state. Ever since he realized that the sword Saint Feng Qingyang was really a legend of the Dao martial Saint Land, his attitude toward the word sword left behind by Feng Qingyang had undergone a subtle change. Previously, he had been staring at the word sword intently without closing his eyes for even a moment. A day had passed, and he still could not figure out anything. 2 days had passed, and he still could not figure out anything. 3 days had passed, and it was still the same. The days passed one after another. On the 10th day, Duan Lingtian was still persevering. On the 11th day, Duan Lingtian vaguely caught a glimpse of something from the word sword. It was difficult to describe, but it was very subtle. Its existence seemed to have opened a door to another realm for Duan Lingtian. Of course, the realm mentioned here was the realm of the sword Dao. At this moment, Duan Lingtian withdrew his gaze and closed his eyes as he began to comprehend the additional thing that had appeared in his mind. Half a year had passed since he closed his eyes. Naturally, he did not know that half a year had passed. This was because he had only done one thing in this half a year, and that was to comprehend the additional thing that had appeared in his mind. The additional thing could be considered as information or something else. It was difficult to describe it with words. Half a year later, Duan Lingtian unconsciously performed the strange sword technique for a day and a night. When he was done and sat down cross-legged again, a piece of information suddenly appeared in his mind. There was not much information, but it gave Duan Lingtian a strong sense of oppression. Descendant, congratulations. You have obtained the recognition of the divine consciousness that I left behind. A voice accompanied the piece of information. It did not ring in Duan Lingtian's ears, but seemed to be constantly reverberating in Duan Lingtian's mind. Who are you? Faced with this situation, Duan Lingtian naturally panicked. He wanted to open his eyes and wake up, but he found that he seemed to have lost control of his body. For a moment, Duan Lingtian's heart was filled with panic. Who am I? Didn't you see the message I left beside the word sword? The voice sounded again. You are Sword Saint Feng Qingyang? Duan Lingtian was frightened. At this moment, Duan Lingtian's communication with the voice was limited to the communication between souls. At least you are not too stupid. Otherwise, I would really have to consider whether to let you be my successor. The voice sounded extremely indifferent. Your successor? Duan Lingtian was stunned. For a moment, he did not react to the situation. I don't have time to talk to you. This is only the divine consciousness I left behind on the word sword. Once it is released, it won't last for long. Now I'll pass the Supreme Sword Dao mental cultivation method, the Sovereign Heart Sword, to you. I hope you won't ruin my reputation. The voice sounded again. In the end, it no longer spoke. The Sovereign Heart Sword? Before Duan Lingtian regained his senses, he felt a vast amount of information gushing into his mind like crushing dry weeds and smashing rotten wood. In the end, he could not take it anymore and completely lost consciousness. Outside, Feng Wudao and the others were shocked when they saw Duan Lingtian's figure that was sitting cross-legged in the air suddenly falling. Young master! Xiong Quan was the first to rush out and caught Duan Lingtian before putting him down. A group of people immediately surrounded them and looked at the unconscious Duan Lingtian worriedly. Duan Lingtian laid there for 9 days and 9 nights. Fortunately, during these 9 days and 9 nights, everyone was certain there was nothing wrong with Duan Lingtian's body. Otherwise, who knew how anxious they would be? After 9 days and 9 nights, although Duan Lingtian regained consciousness, he was not in a hurry to wake up. I seem to have had a dream. I dreamt of Sword Saint Feng Qingyang. He said he would pass the Supreme Sword Dao mental cultivation method, the Sovereign Heart Sword. When this thought appeared in Duan Lingtian's mind, he discovered some information had appeared in his mind. Sovereign Heart Sword? Duan Lingtian was stunned when he read the information. Isn't that a dream? Don't tell me. Don't tell me it's real. At this moment, Duan Ling Tian was so shocked that he opened his eyes and woke up. He stretched out his hand and pinched his thigh. Chapter 1541. When he felt a sharp pain in his leg, Duan Ling Tian realized that he was not dreaming. All of this was real. He had really obtained the Sovereign Heart Sword, which the sword Saint Feng Qingyang called the Supreme Sword Principle Mental Cultivation Method. What is this Sovereign Heart Sword? Is it a cultivation method or a martial arts technique? Out of curiosity, Duan Ling Tian began to search through the additional information in his mind. After a while, he had a certain understanding of the Sovereign Heart Sword. The Sovereign Heart Sword was not a cultivation method or a martial arts technique. It was a sword cultivator's heart cultivation method. If one wished to cultivate the sword, one must first cultivate the heart. Where the heart was, the sword would be. Where the heart was, metal and stone would split. That was the Sovereign Heart Sword. When Duan Ling Tian read the last part of the Sovereign Heart Sword, he could not help but be stunned. When the Sovereign Heart Sword is cultivated to the highest level, all weapons will submit to the will of the heart. According to the notes in the content, when the sword Saint Feng Qingyang was in his prime, no one could use a weapon in front of him. This was because all weapons had to submit to him. To be more precise, they had to submit to his sword heart. The highest level of the Sovereign Heart Sword was called the Heart and Sword as One. Even if it hasn't been cultivated to the highest level, the first few levels are still very impressive. Although it's not a martial arts technique, it's far better than a martial arts technique. Duan Ling Tian was secretly shocked. He was completely stunned by the content of the Sovereign Heart Sword. As he continued to read, Duan Ling Tian came to the last paragraph of the Sovereign Heart Sword. It was also a summary of the Sovereign Heart Sword. Of course, there was a lot of specific cultivation content at the beginning, but Duan Ling Tian did not read it carefully. He had been jumping around to see what each level of the Sovereign Heart Sword was called, and what was different about each level. The summary of the Sovereign Heart Sword was not a long description. It was only a short paragraph. The Sovereign Heart Sword is my life's work. Although it's not a saint-grade martial tactics technique, it's far more powerful than a saint-grade martial tactics technique. Even a heaven-ranked prominent saint-grade martial tactics technique can't compare to it. Of course, the prerequisite is that you have cultivated the Sovereign Heart Sword to the highest level. Even I only managed to cultivate the Sovereign Heart Sword to the highest level 10 years before I ascended. The person who obtains the Sovereign Heart Sword will be the only successor of my Misty Rain lineage. That was the summary of the Sovereign Heart Sword. Rather than calling it a summary, it would be better to call it the Confession of Sword Saint Feng Qingyang. The moves in a heaven-class saint-grade martial tactic are only 1/10 as powerful? Is the highest level of the Sovereign Heart Sword, heart and sword as one, really that incredible? Duan Ling Tian found it hard to believe. His first thought was that sword Saint Feng Qingyang was boasting. However, when he thought about it again, he felt there was no need for sword Saint Feng Qingyang to boast. After all, if he did, he would be exposed sooner or later. At that time, his reputation would be tarnished as well. There was no need for him to lie at all. If what he said is true, doesn't that mean I have something more precious than a heaven-class prominent saint-grade martial tactic now? The moment Duan Ling Tian thought to this point, his breathing quickened. He could not suppress his excitement. Young master, you're awake? Due to his excitement, Duan Ling Tian sat up unknowingly. It did not take long before Xiong Quan was alerted. At once, the others were alerted as well. Ling Tian boy, are you alright? Feng Wudao asked with concern. Duan Ling Tian, how do you feel? The others also looked at Duan Ling Tian with concern on their faces. Faced with the group of people's concern, Duan Ling Tian felt warm in his heart. He shook his head lightly and said, I'm fine. Ling Tian boy, you sat there for half a year without moving at all. Then, you seem to have entered a state of epiphany. Did you really have an epiphany? Feng Wudao asked curiously. Yes. Duan Ling Tian did not explain too much since it was not appropriate for him to say what had happened to him. He nodded in response to Feng Wudao's question. At once, the others looked at Duan Ling Tian enviously. After all, an epiphany was something that could only be found by chance. As the saying went, Once you have an epiphany, even your chickens and dogs will ascend to heaven. They believed Duan Lingtian's current strength must have improved tremendously. Boom! When the group of people surrounded Duan Lingtian and did not have time to disperse, a loud noise suddenly sounded. It shocked everyone, including Duan Lingtian. Instantly, everyone looked at the source of the noise in unison. In the next moment, besides Duan Lingtian, who was slightly stunned, the expressions of everyone else changed greatly. What's going on? Under the gazes of everyone present, the word sword, that sword Saint Feng Qingyang left behind on the mountain wall, actually started to crack. To be more precise, it was the mountain wall that started to crack. In the blink of an eye, the mountain wall was densely covered in cracks. It was like a spiderweb that overlapped and covered the mountain wall. The word sword was already extremely blurry. Whoosh, 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 whoosh. Subsequently, a scene that shocked everyone, including Duan Lingtian, appeared. After the mountain wall cracked into numerous cracks, countless material azure sword chi shot out from within and swept towards the surrounding mountain wall, completely mincing the surrounding mountain wall into pieces. Boom, 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 boom. As a large part of the mountain wall was minced into powder, the mountain rocks in the sky turned into powder that spread out and covered the ground before it smashed heavily on the ground. It lifted a huge cloud of dust that resembled a mushroom cloud. Due to their shock, Duan Lingtian and the others did not have time to block the dust. Soon after, they were covered in dust and were covered in dust. What's going on? Feng Wu Dao and the others were dumbfounded. Only Duan Lingtian was lost in thought when he saw the mountain wall with the word sword no longer existed. Could it be that sword Saint Feng Qingyang left behind the word sword to look for the successor of the Sovereign Heart Sword? At the end of the content of the Sovereign Heart Sword, he seemed to have mentioned that the person who obtained the Sovereign Heart Sword would be the only successor of the Fog Rain progeny. Didn't he leave behind similar legacies in the other two mortal continents? Why would he say that I'm the only successor? Could it be that after I obtained his recognition and became the successor of the Sovereign Heart Sword, not only my cloud continent, but even the mountain walls with the word sword on the other two mortal continents no longer exist? Duan Lingtian thought to himself when he thought about this. Naturally, Duan Lingtian was only guessing. He was not certain. What Duan Lingtian did not know was that while he was watching the mountain wall with the word sword turn into ashes, the same thing was happening somewhere in the other two mortal continents as well. On one of the mortal continents, nobody had discovered the mountain wall yet. However, on the other mortal continent, someone had discovered it. Moreover, it was a sect that discovered it and immediately listed it as their sect's saint land. However, this day was destined to be an unforgettable day for the people in the sect. This was because their sect's saint land had turned into ashes for no reason. Initially, it was a disciple guarding the saint land who discovered the mountain wall with the word sword had cracked. In the end, everyone, including the senior officials of the sect in the saint land, witnessed the unforgettable scene with their own eyes. After the saint wall of their sect's saint land cracked open, countless solidified sword chi shot out and turned the saint wall into ashes. The saint wall has collapsed, and the saint land is destroyed. Could it be that the heavens are punishing us for occupying this place? The senior officials of the sect who witnessed this with their own eyes had a heavy heart. In the past, even the strongest powerhouse in their sect could not leave a mark on the saint wall. However, the saint wall had turned into ashes out of thin air at this moment. If this was not a punishment from the heavens, then what was it? Was there anyone in this world who had such ridiculous strength? However, it did not cross their minds that all of this happened because the peerless powerhouse who left behind the so-called saint wall had found his successor, his only successor. Since his successor had been found, there was no need for the mountain wall with the word sword anymore. One could imagine that if they knew the reason, they would definitely hunt Duan Lingtian down from afar to make Duan Lingtian return their saint land. The mountain wall with the word sword had turned into ashes, and the word sword canyon only existed in name. Duan Lingtian and the others stood facing each other in the sky above the canyon. Everyone, I'm going to return to the Dao Martial Saint Land's Moon Illumination sect immediately. I wonder what all of you plan to do. Duan Lingtian asked bluntly as he looked at Feng Wudao and the others. Put aside the fact that there was nothing left on Cloud Continent that he cared about. His two fiancées who were nowhere to be found filled his heart with worry. Upon hearing Duan Lingtian's question, Feng Wudao and the others fell silent. They had spent the past few years on Half Moon Island. To a certain extent, they had gotten used to the life on Half Moon Island. Now that Half Moon Island had turned into ruins, they would have to take a huge risk even if they returned. At this moment, they really did not have any plans. Duan Lingtian, what kind of place is the Dao Martial Saint Land? Chen Xiaoshui was the first to speak. He asked Duan Lingtian this question the moment he opened his mouth. Dao Martial Saint Land? Upon hearing this, Duan Lingtian pondered for a moment before he told them what he knew about the Dao Martial Saint Land. At the same time, he also told them about his current situation. If all of you want to go to the Dao Martial Saint Land, you can come with me. With my senior brother around, it won't be difficult to find a place for all of you to stay. When Duan Lingtian reached the end of his sentence, he added, Feng Wudao and the others had long been attracted by the Dao Martial Saint Land that Duan Lingtian mentioned. Apart from the fact that the gravity in the Dao Martial Saint Land was more exaggerated, the mortal continents like Cloud Continent could not compare to it at all. Over there, even powerhouses like Emperor Wu and Demon Emperors were nothing. The cultivation environment, the saint stones, and the saint-grade martial tactics there attracted Feng Wudao and the others. Duan Lingtian, are you also a mortal shedding stage martial cultivator now? Chapter 1542. From Duan Lingtian, everyone, including Chen Xiaoshui, learned about the existence of the mortal shedding stage martial cultivators in the Dao Martial Saint Land. They knew that it was above the Emperor Wu stage and the Demon Emperor stage. Mortal shedding stage? Upon hearing Chen Xiaoshui's words, Duan Lingtian shook his head. I'm not at the mortal shedding stage. How's that possible? Feng Wudao and the others did not believe Duan Lingtian's words. If you're not at the mortal shedding stage, how could you be so fast when you brought us back? That's right. The speed you brought us back was too ridiculous. It was so fast that I couldn't even see what was going on outside. Duan Lingtian, are you kidding? Although I haven't broken through to the Emperor stage, I know that even those at the peak of the Emperor stage can't have such speed. Everyone expressed their disbelief. I only said I'm not at the mortal shedding stage. I didn't say I'm still at the Emperor stage. Duan Lingtian smiled wryly and continued to shake his head. What do you mean? Everyone was stunned. In the end, Feng Wudao was the first to react. He asked in shock, Don't tell me, you've already surpassed the mortal shedding stage and broken through to a higher stage? The moment Feng Wudao's words left his mouth, everyone's eyes landed on Duan Lingtian in unison. Yes, Duan Lingtian nodded. I'm at the Perfection Saint Rudiment stage now. Subsequently, Duan Lingtian introduced the cultivation levels in the Dao Martial Saint Land to Feng Wudao and the others. At once, Feng Wudao and the others learned that the Saint Rudiment stage was the cultivation level above the mortal shedding stage. Moreover, they also learned about the specific differences between the mortal shedding stage and the Saint Rudiment stage. The Perfection Saint Rudiment stage was the fourth stage of the Saint Rudiment stage. Feng Wudao and the others were stunned when they learned that Duan Lingtian's cultivation base had improved so much in just 3 years. When they came back to their senses, their breathing became rapid. The cultivation environment in the Dao Martial Saint Land is so ridiculous? Chen Xiaoshui exclaimed. That's right. Although your innate talent is high, Duan Lingtian, this improvement is just too ridiculous. Although my innate talent can't be compared to yours, even if it's only 1/10 of yours, my cultivation base will still improve a lot in the Dao Martial Saint Land. Nangongyi added. Although Nangong Chen did not say anything, his burning gaze clearly represented his thoughts. Even Feng Wudao and the others were filled with anticipation and longing for the Dao Martial Saint Land. At this moment, Duan Lingtian knew that Feng Wudao and the others had already made a choice. The reason why they made such a choice was naturally the same as what Nangongyi had said. They felt that the cultivation environment in the Dao Martial Saint Land would allow him to improve by leaps and bounds in just 3 years. Little did he know that the reason why his cultivation had increased so much was mainly because of the 7 Treasures Exquisite Pagoda. Most likely, it was because of the 7 Treasures Exquisite Pagoda. However, it was not convenient for him to mention the 7 Treasures Exquisite Pagoda. It was not that he was being selfish, but he had scruples in his heart. It was just like how he did not tell Bai Li Hong previously. Since Feng Wu Dao and the others were willing to sacrifice their lives for him, naturally, he was not worried that they would betray him. However, sometimes, under the effect of some soul-searching spiritual energy secret tactic, their actions were out of their control. This was what Duan Lingtian was most worried about. Due to this reason, when Duan Lingtian saw the desire in Feng Wu Dao and the others' eyes to go to the Dao Martial Saint Land, he did not pour cold water on them. Moreover, although the cultivation environment in the Dao Martial Saint Land was not as ridiculous as they had imagined, it was still much better compared to the Cloud Continent. Especially in the Moon Illumination sect, the cultivation environment was much better than the cultivation environment of an ordinary 9th-rate or 8th-rate force. Ling Tian boy, since you've gone to the Dao Martial Saint Land, do you have any news about Wu Er? Feng Wu Dao, who longed for the Dao Martial Saint Land, could not help but think of his daughter, who had gone to the Dao Martial Saint Land a long time ago. At once, he looked at Duan Lingtian and asked with a yearning look in his eyes, "Uncle Feng, the Dao Martial Saint Land is so big that the Cloud Continent can't compare to it. However, I'm guessing the group of people who brought Tian Wu away must not be from any major forces. I've already asked my senior brother in the Dao Martial Saint Land to use his connections to help look for Tian Wu. If there's any news, my senior brother will inform me immediately." Duan Lingtian said to Feng Wu Dao. Naturally, Duan Lingtian would not forget about Feng Tianwu. Due to this reason, not long after Bai Li Hong had acknowledged him as junior brother, he had asked Bai Li Hong to help look for Tian Wu. Bai Li Hong had also mobilized all his connections to look for Tian Wu in the Dao Martial Saint Land. Naturally, although Bai Li Hong was a 3-star saint inscription master, his connections were still limited. He could only look for those 7th-rate, 8th-rate, and 9th-rate forces in the Dao Martial Saint Land. If Feng Tianwu happened to be in a 6th-rate force, or a force that was even more powerful, unless Feng Tianwu stood out in that force and became famous, it would be difficult for Bai Li Hong to find out where Feng Tianwu was with his connections. Even if he searched through all the 7th-rate forces in the Dao Martial Saint Land, it would take a long time, let alone those 8th-rate and 9th-rate forces. All right. Upon hearing Duan Lingtian's words, Feng Wu Dao nodded. He seemed to be relieved, but his heart was heavy. In the past, although he knew his daughter had gone to the Dao Martial Saint Land, he was not too worried because he did not know much about the Dao Martial Saint Land. However, after he learned about the Dao Martial Saint Land, he could not help but feel worried. The Dao Martial Saint Land was even more cruel than the Cloud Continent. There, the top powerhouses on the Cloud Continent, such as Emperor Wu and the Demon Emperor, were at the bottom of the pyramid and were easily stepped on. Since Feng Wu Dao and the others had made up their minds, Duan Lingtian did not plan to stay on the Cloud Continent any longer. However, before that he had some things to do. "Uncle Feng, teacher, wait for me here for a while. I have something to do, but I'll be back soon." After notifying Feng Wu Dao, Sima Changfeng, and the others, Duan Lingtian vanished before their eyes at the first possible moment, and he used his fastest speed to head all the way south. Duan Lingtian was currently a Perfection Saint Rudiment Stage Martial Cultivator, so it only took him a dozen breaths of time to return to the Crimson Sky Kingdom from the Azure Forest Imperial Kingdom at full speed. He only had one purpose in returning to the Crimson Sky Kingdom, and that was to inform his family and friends in the Crimson Sky Kingdom about his whereabouts. If Little Fei Little Gold and the others really went to look for Xuanai, they'll definitely come back. At that time, if they find out that Half Moon Island has been reduced to ruins, with Little Fei's intelligence, she'll definitely think of returning to the Crimson Sky Kingdom to ask about it. Due to this reason, Duan Lingtian returned to the Crimson Sky Kingdom's imperial city and told his family and friends about his whereabouts in private. It did not take him too long to complete all of this. After another dozen breaths of time, Duan Lingtian returned to the place where Feng Wu Dao and the others were waiting. After greeting them, he led them all the way north and soon left the Cloud Continent. Of course, Duan Lingtian did not head in the direction of Half Moon Island. Instead, he took a big detour. Who knew if Diju was still waiting for him on Half Moon Island? He did not dare to take the risk. Due to this reason, Duan Lingtian thought of leaving a backup plan when he returned to the Crimson Sky Kingdom. He did not have the chance to leave a trace on Half Moon Island to inform Li Fei about his whereabouts. When he was in the Crimson Sky Kingdom, not only did he tell his family and friends about his whereabouts verbally, but he also left behind a voice transmission jade slip. It contained the words he told Li Fei about his whereabouts and the things that happened after he returned, including the kidnapping of Kerr. Due to the fact that Duan Lingtian had never been to Half Moon Island, he did not know that the original Half Moon Island had completely sunk and no longer existed. Just when Duan Lingtian brought Feng Wu Dao and the others back to the Dao Martial Saint Land, somewhere in the Dao Martial Saint Land, a group of 4 travel-worn people was approaching a mountain that was shrouded in clouds and mist. The moment they approached the mountain, the 4 of them were stopped before they could even pass through the clouds and mist. The people who stopped them were 3 middle-aged men dressed in blue uniforms and 2 young men dressed in casual clothes. Of the 2 young men, one of them wore embroidered clothes, and his every movement revealed the temperament of a profligate son of a wealthy family. The other one wore coarse clothes, and he seemed to be a foil to the former. He followed closely behind the former, and it was obvious that he was an errand boy. The young man in embroidered clothes was also the leader of the 5 of them. "Who's there? How dare you trespass into my Greenwave Han mansion?" The young man in embroidered clothes said lazily. From the moment he appeared until now, he did not even look at the 4 of them. "Young master, it's a supreme product, a supreme product." The moment the young man in embroidered clothes finished speaking, a flattering voice resonated in his ears. "What a pity, it's a pregnant woman. Supreme product?" When the young man in embroidered clothes heard this flattering voice, he immediately lifted his head and began to size up the 4 of them. His gaze was soon attracted by one of them. This was a woman with a seductive figure and an angelic face. Her peerless beauty seemed to be able to overshadow everything in her surroundings. Most importantly, her temperament was exceptionally attractive. He had seen many beauties before, but this was his first time seeing one who was so beautiful and had such a temperament. So what if she's a pregnant woman? The young man in embroidered clothes glanced at the woman's slightly protruding belly and scoffed at his lackey's words. "I, Han Jin Yen, have seen many women, but I've never tasted a pregnant woman before, especially one who's so beautiful and has such a temperament. How should I address you, miss?" Han Jin Yen's expression changed instantly. From the initial indifference to the current enthusiasm, it only took a blink of an eye. Most importantly, although Han Jin Yen had lustful thoughts in his heart, he did not show it on his face or in his eyes. The lustful gleam in the depths of his eyes flashed before it disappeared without a trace. Chapter 1543. This was also Han Jin Yen's habit. Usually, he would treat the woman he had taken a liking to with respect in the beginning. It was only when he realized he could not get what he wanted that he would turn hostile and use force to force the woman he had taken a liking to submit to him. From the past until now, he had never failed. "Who are you?" At this moment, 3 short figures stood in front of Han Jin Yen in unison, blocking his view. A little boy and 2 little girls were looking at Han Jin Yen warily. When Han Jin Yen saw the 3 little kids blocking his view of the beauty, his face turned grave immediately. However, when he remembered he had to maintain a good impression in front of the beauty, a smile bloomed on his face. "I'm Han Jin Yen from Greenwave Han Mansion." "Umph. My young master is the most beloved grandson of the Greenwave Han Mansion's supreme elder." At this moment, the lackey behind Han Jin Yen chimed in. At the same time, the other 3 middle-aged men, who were dressed in uniforms, looked at the pregnant beauty with a hint of pity in their eyes. They could tell Han Jinyan had taken a liking to this woman. As far as they knew, none of the women whom Han Jinyan had taken a liking to would be able to escape from his grasp. Although they could not stand it, there was nothing they could do about it. After all, Han Jinyan was the only grandson of their Greenwave Han Mansion's supreme elder. Moreover, just like what the lackey beside Han Jinyan had said, Han Jinyan was indeed the most beloved grandson of their Greenwave Han Mansion's supreme elder. Their Greenwave Han Mansion's supreme elder had a transcendent position in the Greenwave Han Mansion. Even the current mansion master of Greenwave Han Mansion had to address him respectfully as clan uncle. So you're the big pervert Han Jinyan that Sister Xuanai mentioned. The golden-clad little girl, who looked like she was carved out of jade, nodded as realization dawned on her. When the lackey behind Han Jinyan heard the little girl's words, his expression turned grave immediately. He could not help but shudder. What did this little girl say? Sister Xuanai? Was she referring to the eldest young miss of their Greenwave Han Mansion, who was doted on by everyone? The little she-devil whose name made everyone in Greenwave Han Mansion turn pale? You know, Xuanai? Upon hearing the little girl's words, Han Jinyan couldn't help but furrow his brows. A trace of lingering fear flashed in his eyes. In the Greenwave Han Mansion, there were only a handful of people who could make him feel apprehensive. However, that eldest young miss was one of them. In the past, he had often been teased by that young miss. At the same time, Han Jinyan's face darkened. The little girl had called him a big pervert, which had completely ruined his image in front of the beauty. Whoosh! At this moment, a gust of wind blew past, and a green figure appeared out of thin air nearby. It was an old woman in green clothes. Standing there, it was as if he had become one with the heavens and earth. Lady Qing knew. Seeing the old woman, the 3 middle-aged men in uniforms immediately bowed respectfully, not daring to show the slightest neglect. They are eldest Mrs. Friends. You can leave now. The green-clothed old woman was precisely that Qing Nu who followed by Han Xuanai's side in the past. Qing Nu glanced indifferently at the 3 middle-aged men as she spoke. Yes. Upon hearing this, the 3 middle-aged men immediately left. At the same time, they secretly heaved a sigh of relief. They had finally gotten rid of that good-for-nothing rich kid. Young Master Jinyan. After asking the 3 of them to leave, Qing Nu glanced at Han Jinyan indifferently and greeted him perfunctorily. Qing Nu, are they really Xuanai's friends? Han Jinyan asked with a frown. Why, young Master Jinyan, are you going to ask eldest miss personally? Qing Nu's tone was laced with sarcasm. It was as though she was not very respectful to Han Jinyan, this young master. There's no need for that. A cold gleam flashed in Han Jinyan's eyes as he shook his head. If it was not necessary, he really did not want to see that little devil. Whoosh! At this moment Qing Nu waved her hand. The air trembled as a profound energy flashed past. Then whether it was Qing Nu, that peerless beauty, the 2 little girls, or 1 little girl, all of them disappeared without a trace. At the same time, only Han Jinyan and his lackeys were left at the scene. Young master, let's go back. The lackeys seemed to have noticed that Han Jinyan was in a bad mood, so they suggested to him, go back and investigate the background of those people. The most important thing is that woman. I must have that woman. Now that there was no one else around, Han Jinyan no longer bothered to conceal his desires. An uncontrollable lust could be seen in his eyes. Young master, why don't we just forget about it? Lord Qing Nu also said that she's Miss Xuanai's friend. If you lay a finger on her, I'm afraid Miss Xuanai won't let this go easily. The lackeys seemed to be afraid of the Miss Xuanai that Han Jinyan mentioned. Every time he mentioned her, his body would tremble. Humph. So what if she won't let this go? Do you think she can kill me? Put aside the fact that she might not have the strength to do so. Even if she does, I don't believe she'll kill me for an outsider. Han Jinyan snorted coldly and said disdainfully, even so, Miss Xuanai isn't easy to deal with. The lackey smiled wryly. You don't have to say any more. I must get that woman no matter what. As long as I can get her, It doesn't matter even if my life is shortened by a few years. Let alone that little devil's meaningless pranks. Han Jin raised his hand to stop the lackeys from continuing. When the lackeys heard this, he did not say anything else. This was because he knew that once his master had decided on something, nobody could change his mind. On the other hand, the 4 travel-worn people were led by Qing Nu to the mountain forest that was shrouded in clouds and mist. That place was a vast piece of land with numerous buildings standing on it. It was like a small kingdom behind the clouds and mist. This was the Greenwave Han Mansion. The travel-worn people were none other than Li Fei, Little Black, Little White, and Little Gold, who had traveled all the way here from Half Moon Island. When Li Fei left Half Moon Island, although she was worried about Kerr's safety, she knew her strength was weak. Even if she went back, she would only be courting death. If she was alone, she would choose to go back and live and die with Kerr even if she died. However, she was not alone now. There was a child in her womb. It was the child of her and the man she loved. For this reason, under such circumstances, she obeyed Little Black, Little White, and Little Gold's decision, and came to the Greenwave Han Mansion in the Dao Marshall Saint Land to ask for help. Naturally, it was not easy for them to travel all the way here. It took them almost a year. However, they had finally arrived at their destination. Sister Fei. Soon after, Li Fei and the others saw Han Xuanai. When Han Xuanai saw Li Fei, her eyes lit up immediately. She welcomed her enthusiastically and held Li Fei's hand. Sister Fei, why are you here? Xuanai, you've changed a lot. Seeing Han Xuanai again, even Li Fei could not help but be stunned. After her cultivation base had broken through to the mortal shedding stage, Han Xuanai's appearance was no longer restricted by her cultivation method. She gradually grew from a young girl to a great beauty. In terms of beauty, she was not inferior to Li Fei at all. Hee, Han Xuanai giggled. Then, she glanced behind her and asked Little Gold, Little Black, and Little White, "Why is it only the 3 of you? Where's Sister Kerr?" Sigh. Li Fei sighed. When she heard Han Xuanai mention Kerr, a worried expression appeared on her face. During this journey, she was most worried about Kerr's safety. What's wrong? What happened? Han Xuanai's expression changed slightly. She also felt that something was not right. Sister Xuanai, Half Moon Island. At this moment, Little Gold opened her mouth angrily and told her everything that happened after Diju, the 5-clawed golden dragon, came to Half Moon Island. In the end, she said sadly, "Right now, we don't know if Sister Kerr and the others are still alive or not. Sister Xuanai, you must save them." Almost a year ago, Han Xuanai's heart felt heavy. It had been almost a year since the incident. It was not certain if the remaining people were still alive. Moreover, when she heard that it was done by Diju, the 5-clawed golden dragon, she felt helpless. As the eldest miss of Greenwave Han Mansion, she had naturally heard of Diju before. She knew that he was one of the 2 5-clawed golden dragons in the Greenwave Han Mansion. He was very powerful. Even in their Greenwave Han Mansion, there were only a handful of people who could be compared to him. If it was just Diju alone, it would be fine. However, the problem was that Diju had all the dragons behind him. Among the dragons, there was no lack of existences whose strength was far more powerful than Diju. Sister Fei, don't worry about your pregnancy. Leave this matter to me. All of you have been on your way. Follow Qing Nu down to rest first. Han Xuanai looked at Qing Nu as she spoke to Li Fei. Without waiting for Han Xuanai's order, Qing Nu waved her hand again and brought Li Fei and the 3 little fellows down. She did not even wait for Li Fei to reply to Han Xuanai. Diju 5-clawed golden dragon dragons. I'm afraid even father won't be able to intervene in this matter. I can only look for master. I hope she's not in closed-door cultivation. When Han Xuanai reached the end of her sentence, her heart could not help but clench. This time, even if master is in closed-door cultivation, I'll still have to wake her up. This matter concerns Sister Kerr's safety. I can't let anything happen to her. I've already lost Brother Ling Tian, but I can't lose Sister Kerr no matter what. Otherwise, how am I going to face Brother Ling Tian when I see him in the future? Based on Han Xuanai's words, it seemed as though she had already confirmed that Duan Ling Tian was safe and sound. The reason she could confirm this was because of her master. The moment Han Xuan'ai thought of this, she left the huge mansion she was living in and flew up into the sky. She headed straight to the depths of the mountains in the north of the Greenwave Han Mansion. Chapter 1544. On the way back to the Moon Illumination sect in the Dao Martial Saint Land, Duan Lingtian's heart grew heavier and heavier. Now he was thinking about his two fiancées all the time. Kerr was fine since he could confirm her safety for now. As for Li Fei, although he guessed she and the three little fellows had gone to look for Xuan'ai, the journey from Cloud Continent to the Dao Martial Saint Land was extremely dangerous. Would they be able to arrive safely? He was extremely worried about this. Due to this reason, Duan Lingtian did not even have the mood to read the Sovereign Heart Sword. However, even if he did not read the Sovereign Heart Sword in detail, Duan Lingtian's current sword Dao had already reached the first stage of the Sovereign Heart Sword. That half a year of meditation was not for nothing. As for the sword technique he performed as though he had an epiphany, it went from simple to complicated, and from complicated to simple again. This was the interpretation of the first stage of the Sovereign Heart Sword. The first stage of the Sovereign Heart Sword was also known as the Sword in the Heart. Although it was only the first stage of the Sovereign Heart Sword, in terms of power, it had already surpassed the highest stage of the aerolite strike that Duan Lingtian had cultivated. Naturally, the prerequisite was that he did not rely on the energy of the saint inscriptions when he cast the aerolite strike. In other words, the first stage of the Sovereign Heart Sword had already surpassed the highest stage of the human rank top saint grade martial tactics offensive technique. With Duan Lingtian's current strength, apart from some eminent saint stage powerhouses, he was confident he could defeat or even kill other martial and Dao cultivators below the saint stage. With Duan Lingtian's current strength, it was still very safe for him to bring Feng Wu Dao and the others along. Soon after, he brought Feng Wu Dao and the others to the entrance of the Moon Illumination Sect's estate. Currently, Duan Lingtian was already a popular person in the Moon Illumination sect. Due to this reason, the few outer court disciples guarding the entrance greeted him respectfully as senior brother Duan when they saw him, and welcomed him respectfully. They did not even check Feng Wu Dao and the others. What a joke! Not only was this senior brother Duan an outstanding talent among the younger generation in the Moon Illumination sect, but he was also elder by Li Hong's junior brother. How would they dare to stop him from bringing people into the sect? Duan Lingtian, those Moon Illumination sect's disciples seem to respect you a lot. Chen Xiaoshui said in surprise. The others were more or less surprised. Earlier, they could see that the respect the few Moon Illumination sect's disciples had for Duan Lingtian came from the bottom of their hearts. Especially when they looked at Duan Lingtian, their gazes were filled with admiration for the strong. For a moment, they were curious about how Duan Lingtian managed to achieve so much in the Moon Illumination sect in just 3 years. If they knew that Duan Lingtian had only entered the Moon Illumination sect for less than a year, they would most likely be dumbstruck. Senior Duan, senior brother Duan Lingtian, senior brother Lingtian. Along the way, Feng Wu Dao and the others were numb to the greetings of Dao venerables. When Duan Lingtian led Feng Wu Dao and the others through the outer court, almost all the outer court disciples they met along the way greeted and bowed at him. Due to the fact that he was not in a good mood, Duan Lingtian merely nodded his head nonchalantly when the group of outer court disciples greeted him. Soon after, Duan Lingtian led Feng Wu Dao and the others into the inner court and into Bai Li Hong's mansion. Under Duan Lingtian's instructions, the people in Bai Li Hong's mansion brought Feng Wu Dao and the others to rest. As for Duan Lingtian, he went to look for Bai Li Hong immediately. Junior brother, why are you back so soon? Bai Li Hong was surprised when he saw Duan Lingtian. Was his junior brother not going back to accompany his 2 sisters-in-law to give birth? Did my 2 sisters-in-law give birth when you returned? Did my nephew and them come with you? Bai Li Hong asked with a hint of anticipation in his eyes. Senior brother. When Duan Lingtian heard Bai Li Hong mentioning his 2 fiancées, the worry that he had put down resurfaced in his heart again. He could not help but tremble. I'm afraid I'll have to disappoint you. After taking a deep breath, Duan Lingtian finally replied to Bai Li Hong. What's wrong? Did something happen? Bai Li Hong asked hastily when he saw Duan Lingtian's expression had turned grave. Faced with Bai Li Hong, who was worried about him, Duan Lingtian felt warmth in his heart. Then, he told Bai Li Hong everything that had happened. Dragons? 5-clawed golden dragon? After knowing the ins and outs of the matter, Bai Li Hong's expression turned grave. Although his knowledge of dragons was based on written records, it was still a legend. However, the dragon clan in the written records was an extremely terrifying force. In the Dao Martial Saint Land, very few forces were willing to offend the dragon clan. Especially after he found out how powerful Diju was, Bai Li Hong felt a wave of helplessness in his heart. According to his junior brother's description, Diju's strength was even higher than the few Saint Stage powerhouses in their Moon Illumination sect. Apart from that, Bai Li Hong also learned about Qi Mei, junior brother, since Qi Mei is sisters-in-law's twin sister, and she's so kind to sisters-in-law. I'm sure she won't harm sisters-in-law. However, I've never heard of Zoroastrianism before. Bai Li Hong comforted Duan Lingtian. When he reached the end of his sentence, he could not help but shake his head. As for the other sisters-in-law, since she's your sweetheart and is pregnant with your child, I'm sure she's a blessed person. You don't have to worry too much, junior brother. Bai Li Hong added. When Bai Li Hong saw Duan Lingtian's expression softened when he heard his words, he struck while the iron was hot, and continued to persuade Duan Lingtian and comfort Duan Lingtian. One must admit that Bai Li Hong was indeed a wily old fox. In the end, he managed to calm Duan Lingtian down a lot. Senior brother, I've brought some seniors and friends with me this time. Soon after, Duan Lingtian told Bai Li Hong about Feng Wu Dao and the others. Bai Li Hong was very straightforward. Just let them stay at my place. I don't have anything else here except for a lot of empty houses. Since they're your seniors and friends, they're naturally my friends as well. Thank you, senior brother. Duan Lingtian quickly expressed his gratitude. Junior brother, you're here again, Bai Li Hong said with a slightly displeased expression on his face. I forgot. I won't thank you again if I need your help again, senior brother. Duan Lingtian smiled awkwardly. Let's go. Bring me to meet your seniors and friends, Bai Li Hong said. It would be rude if I, as the host, didn't go and greet my friends who came from afar. Subsequently, Duan Lingtian and Bai Li Hong went to meet Feng Wu Dao and the others. When Feng Wu Dao and the others saw Bai Li Hong, they were dumbfounded. Although they had heard from Duan Lingtian that he had a senior brother in the Moon Illumination sect, and his senior brother's position in the sect was quite high, they thought Duan Lingtian's senior brother was the son or disciple of the Moon Illumination sect's high-ranking officials. It did not cross their minds that it would be a white-haired old man. Moreover, it was obvious the old man was not a simple person. Everyone, since all of you are my junior brother's seniors and friends, naturally, you're my friends as well. From today onward, all of you will stay here. I'll apply for an identity token for all of you tomorrow. From tomorrow onward, all of you will be inner court disciples of the Moon Illumination sect. Bai Li Hong smiled as he spoke to Feng Wu Dao and the others. Inner court disciples? Although they knew Bai Li Hong was not a simple person, Feng Wu Dao and the others were still stunned when they heard his words. They were inner court disciples as soon as they entered the Moon Illumination sect. They had heard from Duan Lingtian everything about the Moon Illumination sect on their way here. They knew the inner court disciples of the Moon Illumination sect were usually at the Saint Rudiment stage or above. Even the weakest outer court disciples were at the Mastery Mortal Shedding stage or the Perfection Mortal Shedding stage. However, they had not even entered the Mortal Shedding stage, and yet they became inner court disciples as soon as they entered the Moon Illumination sect. Duan Lingtian's senior brother. Don't tell me he's the sect leader of the Moon Illumination sect? Chen Xiaoshui looked at Nangong Yi and asked through voice transmission in shock. Even if he's not the sect leader of the Moon Illumination sect, he must be someone with great influence in the Moon Illumination sect. Otherwise, how could he be so capable? Nangong Yi, who was stunned, regained his senses when he heard Chen Xiaoshui's voice transmission and replied. While Feng Wu Dao and the others were still in shock from Bai Li Hong's words, Bai Li Hong raised his hand and took out a huge pile of 6th grade saint stones. Take these 6th grade saint stones as my meeting gift to all of you. Also, I'll apply for a crystal card for all of you tomorrow. At that time, I'll transfer some merit points to all of you, so you can exchange them for saint grade martial tactics and pills at the merit pavilion. As for the saint weapons, I'll personally customize them for all of you. Bai Li Hong smiled. Feng Wudao and the others thanked him immediately when they heard his words. Naturally, they did not know how big the meeting gift from Bai Li Hong was. The last promise was enough to make half of the people in the Moon Illumination sect jealous. The saint weapons that Bai Li Hong customized for them were undoubtedly inscribed with the most suitable saint inscriptions for them. Once they used such a saint weapon, their strength would not be as simple as 1 + 1. All of you must be tired from the journey, so I won't disturb your rest. After bidding farewell to Feng Wudao and the others in Duanlingtian, Bai Li Hong left. After Bai Li Hong left, Feng Wudao and the others looked at Duanlingtian one after another. Feng Wudao took the lead and asked, Lingtian boy, who's your senior brother exactly? Duanlingtian, don't tell me your senior brother is the sect leader of the Moon Illumination sect? Chen Xiaoshui asked as well. My senior brother is an inner court elder of the Moon Illumination sect. However, due to some reason, my senior brother's position in the Moon Illumination sect is extraordinary. Even the sect leader doesn't dare to slight him when he sees him. Chapter 1545. As for the reason, I can't explain it to you in a short time. However, you'll find out when you stay in the Moon Illumination sect longer. Duanlingtian added. Duanlingtian was touched when he recalled the welcome gift his senior brother, Bai Li Hong, mentioned earlier. His senior brother had arranged everything for him. What Feng Wudao and the others lacked the most when they came to the Dao Martial Saint Land was all kinds of cultivation resources. The welcome gift his senior brother mentioned earlier had undoubtedly solved this problem completely. Uncle Feng, teacher, all of you should have a good rest. Have a good rest today. There are still many things to do tomorrow. Duanlingtian finished speaking to Feng Wudao and the others. Under the puzzled gaze of Feng Wudao and the others, Duanlingtian bade farewell and left. Duanlingtian said, We still have many things to do tomorrow? What do you mean? Duanlingtian is still the same as before. He likes to keep us in suspense. Chen Xiaoshui and Nangong Yi began to talk at the same time. Feng Wudao and the others who had rested for a night finally found out what Duanlingtian was talking about when they saw Bai Li Hong the next day. Apart from giving each of them an inner court disciple identity token, Bai Li Hong had also given each of them a crystal card. Not only that, he had personally brought them to the merit pavilion of the Moon Illumination sect and allowed them to choose their own cultivation method to borrow. He had also recommended many saint-grade pills for marrow cleansing and jade tokens that introduced various matters in the Dao Martial Saint Land to them. During this process, they finally understood the meaning of the merit points in the crystal cards in their hands. As it turned out, the merit points were the most important currency in the Moon Illumination sect. Moreover, using the merit points to borrow the saint-grade martial tactic made them realize that the martial skills they used to cultivate on Cloud Continent were like trash compared to the saint-grade martial tactic in the Dao Martial Saint Land. After they had tasted the sweetness of the saint-grade pills, they were even more shocked. At this moment, they even felt that their past selves were like country bumpkins who had never seen the world. A few days later, Feng Wudao and the rest finally found out about Bai Li Hong's identity in the Moon Illumination sect. They were dumbstruck. 3-star Saint Inscription Master, Bai Li Hong, Duanlingtian's senior brother, was actually a 3-star Saint Inscription Master. In fact, during the few days they had spent in the Moon Illumination sect, they had obtained a comprehensive understanding of the Dao Martial Saint Land from the jade tokens they bought from the Merit Pavilion. They found out that apart from martial cultivators, there were also Dao cultivators in the Dao Martial Saint Land. Among the martial cultivators, there was a special existence known as the Saint Inscription Master. Among the Dao cultivators, there was also a special group of existences known as Dao Talisman Masters. In the 9 sect alliances that they were currently in, a 3-star Saint Inscription Master was the highest-ranked Saint Inscription Master. In the entire 9 sect alliances district, there were only 2 3-star Saint Inscription Masters. Due to this, the 2 3-star Saint Inscription Masters had a special status in the 9 sect alliances district. Due to this reason, when they found out that Bai Li Hong was one of the 3-star Saint Inscription Masters, and the only 3-star Saint Inscription Master in the Moon Illumination sect, they were shocked. At this moment, they finally understood what Duan Lingtian meant when he said those words earlier. That fellow Duan Lingtian, isn't this a little too exaggerated? How many years has it been since he came to the Dao Martial Saint Land? He actually managed to obtain a backer like Elder Bai Li Hong. Moreover, he even became Elder Bai Li Hong's junior brother. Nangong Yi said with an expression of disbelief on his face. Moreover, his words spoke the thoughts of Feng Wudao and the others. Even Xiong Quan, who had always been confident in Duan Lingtian, was shocked when he learned about Bai Li Hong's background. He did not expect his young master would be able to achieve such a feat in merely 3 years after coming to the Dao Martial Saint Land. As expected of my young master, Xiong Quan's heart was filled with pride. While Feng Wudao and the rest were shocked by Bai Li Hong's identity, many outer court disciples and inner court disciples in the Moon Illumination sect had also learned about Feng Wudao and the rest. In the past few days, at least 8 out of 10 outer court disciples and inner court disciples were talking about Feng Wudao and the rest. This was because they were just too dazzling. Naturally, unlike Duan Lingtian, who was dazzling in the past, Duan Lingtian had relied on his strength to gain the attention of everyone. On the other hand, Feng Wudao and the rest did not gain the attention of everyone because of Bai Li Hong's care. Due to this reason, many people looked down on Feng Wudao and the rest. They felt they had entered through the back door and became inner court disciples as soon as they entered. This caused many outer court disciples and inner court disciples to be so jealous that they were about to go crazy. A few days after Duan Lingtian returned, Lu Huan, who had just walked out of his closed-door cultivation room, also learned about the news of Duan Lingtian's return. He's actually still alive. Lu Huan's expression was extremely grave. The thing he did not want to see the most had happened. Before Zhao Feng was killed by the mysterious powerhouse, he did not manage to kill Duan Lingtian. Duan Lingtian, I can't believe you're so lucky. Unless you're going to hide in the sect like a turtle, I, Lu Huan, will definitely make sure you die a graveless death. Lu Huan said through gritted teeth as his eyes gleamed fiercely. His words were filled with monstrous hatred. It was as though he had enmity with Duan Lingtian for killing his father and stealing his wife. Naturally, Duan Lingtian was unaware of what was happening outside. He had been sitting in his room for a few days and nights. From the beginning until the end, he had not changed his posture at all. In order not to worry Bai Li Hong, he acted calmly in front of Bai Li Hong. However, he still could not let it go. However, after a few days and nights, Duan Lingtian finally came to a realization. Right now, it's useless no matter how much I think about it. The most important thing now is to raise my strength. Only by raising my strength will I have a chance to look for Kerr and snatch Kerr back. Although even the 5-clawed golden dragon Diju did not know about the existence of Zoroastrianism, Qi Mei's strength far surpassed Diju's. However, just the strength that Qi Mei displayed that far surpassed Diju was enough to show that the fire worship sect was not simple. Now that Kerr had been taken away by Qi Mei, if he wanted to snatch Kerr back in the future, he would definitely have to face the Zoroastrianism. If he was not strong enough, he might be killed before he even saw Kerr. As for little Fei, Duan Lingtian could not help but worry when he thought about Li Fei. Logically speaking, with the 3 little fellows' alertness, there shouldn't be any problems when they bring little Fei to look for Xuanai. I just hope that they didn't encounter any accidents along the way. Naturally, Duan Lingtian did not know that Li Fei and the 3 little fellows had encountered more than one accident on their way to the Greenwave Han mansion. Fortunately, they managed to turn the misfortune into a blessing each time. Otherwise, he might not be able to see Li Fei and the 3 little fellows again in this lifetime. When Duan Lingtian realized that it would be a waste of time if he continued to be depressed, he immediately entered the Seven Treasures Exquisite Pagoda. As soon as he entered, he heard Hualao's voice. "Don't worry, they're fine now." Huh. Upon hearing Hualao's words, Duan Lingtian could not help but be stunned. Then, he regained his senses and realized that Hualao was talking about Kerr and Li Fei. "Hualao, how did you know?" Seeing how serious Hualao was, Duan Lingtian could not help but ask. "Don't forget about my origin. Although I'm not good at divination, I've been exposed to it a little. After being with you for so long, I think I can roughly deduce whether the people around you are a blessing or a curse." Hualao said. "Hualao, why you're not joking, right?" Upon hearing Hualao's words, Duan Lingtian was a little agitated as well. He was afraid that Hualao was only comforting him. "When have I ever joked with you?" Hualao asked. "Hualao, since you've already roughly deduced, why didn't you tell me earlier? Why did you just watch me sit there like a fool for a few days and keep talking to myself?" Duan Lingtian asked with a wry smile while he was pleasantly surprised that little Feier was also safe. "It's rare to see you like that. What's the harm in watching you for a few more days?" On the other hand, Duan Lingtian almost vomited blood when he heard Hualao's words. He secretly cursed this old man for being such a mischievous child. Why did he not see through him before? Huh. All of a sudden, Duan Lingtian's heart skipped a beat. He vaguely felt that something was calling out to him. To be more precise, it was calling out to his heart. Hualao could not help but feel puzzled when he saw Duan Lingtian's solemn expression. Then, he saw Duan Lingtian walking toward the second level of the Seven Treasures Exquisite Pagoda, as if he was possessed. For a moment, he could not help but follow Duan Lingtian out of curiosity. At this moment, Duan Lingtian could only feel his heart trembling. It was an involuntary trembling that he could not control at all. When he was walking toward the second level of the Seven Treasures Exquisite Pagoda, he noticed that his heartbeat was gradually calming down. However, the feeling of being called out to was getting stronger and stronger. "It seems like there's something calling out to me from the second level of the Seven Treasures Exquisite Pagoda." Duan Lingtian thought to himself before he entered the second level of the Seven Treasures Exquisite Pagoda. He could not figure it out. He had never felt this way when he was in the Seven Treasures Exquisite Pagoda. "What's that?" Soon after, Duan Lingtian entered the second level of the Seven Treasures Exquisite Pagoda. After he entered the second level of the Seven Treasures Exquisite Pagoda, he finally knew what was calling out to him. The Jasper Celestial Sword. The thing that was calling out to him was the Jasper Celestial Sword that had been lying quietly on the second level of the Seven Treasures Exquisite Pagoda. It was also one of the 6 celestial treasures hidden in the Seven Treasures Exquisite Pagoda. The Jasper Celestial Sword was a celestial supreme treasure on the second level of the Seven Treasures Exquisite Pagoda. In the past, when the second level of the Seven Treasures Exquisite Pagoda was opened, he wanted to take the Jasper Celestial Sword for himself. However, he realized that the Jasper Celestial Sword was too heavy. It was so heavy that he could not even lift it. After he had broken through to the Perfection Saint Rudiment stage, he purposely came here to try, but he still could not lift the Jasper Celestial Sword. However, the Jasper Celestial Sword was actually calling out to him. At this moment, his heart seemed to have resonated with the Jasper Celestial Sword. Could it be because of the Sovereign Heart Sword? Just as Duan Lingtian was filled with doubts, a flash of inspiration appeared in his mind. He immediately thought of this. Chapter 1546. Now that I think about it, this is the only possibility. Ever since I inherited the Sovereign Heart Sword, I've never entered the Seven Treasures Exquisite Pagoda again. Today is the first time I've entered the Seven Treasures Exquisite Pagoda since I inherited the Sovereign Heart Sword. It shouldn't be a coincidence that I've encountered such a situation. The moment Duan Lingtian thought of this, his heart was filled with excitement. How could he not be excited? The Jasper Celestial Sword was a celestial supreme treasure, just like the Seven Treasures Exquisite Pagoda. Moreover, it was a celestial supreme treasure that specialized in killing. If he could use it, it would definitely be better than any saint weapon. In front of a celestial supreme treasure like the Jasper Celestial Sword, even the 10 super saint weapons on the 10 great saint weapon ranking could not compare to it, let alone a saint weapon that was inscribed with a 9-star saint inscription. Since it's calling me, does that mean I can use it? Such a thought appeared in Duan Lingtian's mind for no reason. The moment the thought appeared, it was difficult for him to suppress it. At the same time, under Hua Lao's shocked gaze, Duan Lingtian extended his hand and touched the hilt of the Jasper Celestial Sword. It was obvious that he wanted to pick up the Jasper Celestial Sword. However, Hua Lao did not think that Duan Lingtian would be able to pick up the Jasper Celestial Sword. When Duan Lingtian extended his hand and touched the hilt of the Jasper Celestial Sword, he realized that his heart had become extremely calm. The Jasper Celestial Sword also gave him an extremely intimate feeling. It was as though there was an extremely intimate connection between them. At this moment, Duan Lingtian felt as though his heart had become one with the Jasper Celestial Sword. It was difficult to tell them apart. Under such circumstances, Duan Lingtian held the Jasper Celestial Sword and exerted a little force in his hand. The force that he used was not even 1/10 of his full strength. However, it was this insignificant force that allowed him to pick up the Jasper Celestial Sword. That was right. As Duan Lingtian lifted his hand gently, the Jasper Celestial Sword that seemed to weigh 1,000 caddies was easily picked up by him. When the Jasper Celestial Sword was in his hand, Duan Lingtian felt as though it was connected by blood. Upon seeing this scene, Hua Lao was stunned. That was because even with his current strength, although he could barely pick up the Jasper Celestial Sword, it was practically impossible for him to do it so casually. But now, the Jasper Celestial Sword was in Duan Lingtian's hands, as if it was weightless. At this moment, Hua Lao cast the secret spiritual technique, Divine Eye, to probe Duan Lingtian's cultivation base. At this moment, he desperately wanted to confirm Duan Lingtian's cultivation. Although he knew what was going on, Duan Lingtian's actions still shocked him. The Jasper Celestial Sword was actually picked up by him. With the Jasper Celestial Sword in his hand, Duan Lingtian even had the lofty aspiration of, with a sword in hand, I can conquer the world. When Duan Lingtian tried to infuse his true energy into the Jasper Celestial Sword, his expression changed completely. This was because the moment his true energy entered the Jasper Celestial Sword, it was as though the Jasper Celestial Sword had transformed into a bottomless pit as it greedily devoured his true energy. Even the true energy in his Qi was being devoured by the Jasper Celestial Sword through his 99 saint veins. At this moment, Duan Lingtian realized for the first time that having more saint veins was not necessarily a good thing. With the help of the 99 saint veins, in less than 10 breaths, Duan Lingtian's true energy was almost completely devoured. This caused Duan Lingtian to panic for a moment, and he quickly put the Jasper Celestial Sword down. After the Jasper Celestial Sword left his hand, it stopped devouring the remaining true energy in his Qi. When he looked at the Jasper Celestial Sword again, a faint green energy could be seen on the originally plain and unadorned sword. However, the green energy did not last for long before it gradually dissipated. It absorbed all of my true energy, and it dissipated in just a short while. Upon seeing this, Duan Lingtian could not help but smile wryly. At the same time, he regretted being so impulsive earlier. You can actually use it. While Duan Lingtian smiled wryly, Hua Lao looked at Duan Lingtian as though he had just seen a ghost. Disbelief was written all over his face. You're only at the perfection saint rudiment stage on this planet. You haven't even formed your true energy yet. How's it possible for you to pick up the Jasper Celestial Sword? Moreover, you can actually use it. What's going on? When Hua Lao reached the end of his sentence, he still had a puzzled expression on his face, even though he was very knowledgeable. Naturally, Duan Lingtian did not hide anything from Hua Lao. Therefore, he told him about how he obtained the Sovereign Heart Sword that was left behind by Sword Saint Feng Qingyang. At the same time, he also told him that he had already mastered the first stage of the Sovereign Heart Sword, the sword in the heart. I see. I didn't expect someone would be able to comprehend the sword heart on such a mundane planet. Sword Saint Feng Qingyang is considered a peerless genius even in the Devata realms. After he ascends, based on his attainments in the Sword Tao, it won't be long before he becomes famous in the Devata realms. Hua Lao could not help but sigh emotionally when he heard about Sword Saint Feng Qingyang. Is it really that exaggerated? Duan Lingtian asked in confusion. He found it hard to believe. Who was Hua Lao? He was the only three-legged golden crow in the world. When he was at his peak, his strength was comparable to a celestial god. It was truly shocking that Sword Saint Feng Qingyang would be praised by Hua Lao, who was very knowledgeable. It's not exaggerated. Hua Lao shook his head and said solemnly, in the Devata realms, including the Jade Emperor Heaven, there's only one person who's comparable to him in the Sword Tao. Although this was the first time Duan Lingtian heard Hua Lao mention the Devata realms, he knew about the Jade Emperor Heaven. There were many existences in the Jade Emperor Heaven that he was familiar with. For example, the Heavenly Emperor of the Jade Emperor Heaven was the Jade Emperor in the ancient myths and legends of Hua Nation on Earth, where he lived in his past life. Many celestials in the ancient myths and legends were also existences in the Jade Emperor Heaven. Hua Lao was also an existence in the Jade Emperor Heaven. Based on Hua Lao's words, it was clear the Jade Emperor Heaven was only one of the Devata realms. That person is also from the Jade Emperor Heaven. Just like you, he's also a human from the mundane planet, planet Yanhuang. Although the number of saint veins he opened is nothing compared to those from planet Yanhuang, he's the second person to leave the Jade Emperor Heaven and become a heavenly emperor of another Devata realm. Hua Lao continued to say, who's he? Upon hearing Hua Lao's words, Duan Lingtian's curiosity was piqued. Not only was he comparable to Sword Saint Feng Qingyang in the Sword Tao, but he had also left the Jade Emperor Heaven and become a heavenly emperor of another Devata realm. Gongsun Xianyuan. In response to Duan Lingtian's question, Elder Hua slowly spat out 4 words. Gongsun Xianyuan? Duan Lingtian was shocked when he heard Hua Lao's words. As an earthling and a citizen of Wuxia, how could he not know this name? The Yellow Emperor Gongsun Xianyuan. Planet Yanhuang, the descendants of Yanhuang. The word Huang represented the Yellow Emperor. The descendants of Yanhuang could be said to be the descendants of the Yellow Emperor. The Yellow Emperor was their ancestor. Gongsun Xianyuan used the Xianyuan sword to kill the heavenly emperor of a Devata realm outside the Jade Emperor Heaven, and became the new heavenly emperor of that Devata realm. When Hua Lao mentioned Gongsun Xianyuan, the Yellow Emperor, he could not help but feel awe and respect for him. He's so powerful. Duan Lingtian was shocked. Although he had heard of Gongsun Xuanyuan's legend, he had mostly heard of Gongsun Xuanyuan's deeds on ancient Earth. However, he had never heard of Gongsun Xuanyuan's deeds after that. Naturally, it was not something ordinary people would know. Hua Lao, you said the Yellow Emperor is the only person in the Devata realms you know who's comparable to Sword Saint Feng Qingyang. Duan Lingtian gasped when he recalled Hua Lao's words. Yes. Hua Lao nodded solemnly. I wonder how long ago Sword Saint Feng Qingyang was. If he didn't ascend after Gongsun Xianyuan, I'm certain his strength is on par with Gongsun Xianyuan. Perhaps he has already become a heavenly emperor of a Devata realm. Ascension. It was White Sun Ascension again. This was not the first time Duan Lingtian had heard about the White Sun Ascension. However, he did not know what it meant. Hua Lao, what does ascension mean? What does it have to do with Devata realms? Duan Lingtian could not help but ask. Ascension means that when one's strength reaches a certain level, it resonates with the Devata realm and triggers the Ascension Tribulation. Once one overcomes the Ascension Tribulation, one can enter a Devata realm through the heavenly path that is specially created for one. Hua Lao explained, there are a total of 81 Devata realms in the colossal world. The Jade Emperor Heaven is only one of them. For example, if people from planet Yanhuang ascend, they'll arrive at the nearest Jade Emperor Heaven. However, I don't know which Devata realm the people from this planet go to after ascending. Hua Lao continued to explain. When I said you'll have a chance to return to planet Yanhuang, I wasn't joking. As long as you ascend to the nearest Devata realm, you'll be able to teleport to the Jade Emperor Heaven through the transporting formation between Devata realms. Once you're in the Jade Emperor heaven, you'll be able to find a way to return to planet Yin Huang. Hua Lao explained in one breath. Hua Lao's words shocked Duan Lingtian greatly. There were 81 Devata realms in the colossal world. The Jade Emperor heaven was only one of them? I'm afraid there are only a handful of mundane planets in the 81 Devata realms who are capable of forming the sword heart on a mundane planet. For this reason, don't underestimate the person who left you the sovereign heart sword. Chapter 1547. Elder Hua, you keep talking about sword heart, but I wonder what it is. Duan Lingtian asked curiously. It's not easy for me to explain the sword heart. All you need to know is that it's the peak of the sword Tao on a mundane planet. There are countless people who have the sword heart in the Devata realms, but most of them have the sword heart in the Devata realms. It's not a big deal. After all, the cultivation environment and resources in the Devata realms are extremely good. Unless one is a sword cultivator who was born stupid, almost all of them would be able to attain the sword heart. However, it's a different story if one comprehended the sword heart on a mundane planet. Those who comprehended the sword heart on a mundane planet would be baptized by the divine energy of the Devata realms during their ascension to the Devata realms. Their sword heart would transform and become the divine sword heart. In the Devata realms, those who possessed the divine sword heart were all people who attained the sword heart on a mundane planet. As I said earlier, such people are rare even in the 81 Devata realms. Gongsun Xianyuan from the mundane planet Yin Huang planet is one of them. Feng Qingyang is also one of them. Hua Lao explained slowly. When he reached this point, he paused for a moment to give Duan Lingtian some time to digest the information. Duan Lingtian, on the other hand, was dumbfounded. At this moment, he finally realized how powerful Sword Saint Feng Qingyang was. Even in the Devata realms, Sword Saint Feng Qingyang was a peerless sword Tao genius. Moreover, Sword Saint Feng Qingyang was from a very long time ago. According to Hua Lao, Sword Saint Feng Qingyang was a sword saint. Currently, Sword Saint Feng Qingyang might have become a heavenly emperor in a Devata realm. He was on par with Gongsun Xianyuan, the Yellow Emperor. Duan Lingtian's heartbeat quickened. He could not calm down for a long time. The sovereign heart sword he had obtained was actually passed down by such an awesome person. According to what you said earlier, the highest stage of the sovereign heart sword that you've inherited, the heart and sword amalgamation, should be the stage where you've developed the sword heart. If you're able to develop the sword heart before you ascend, your future achievements won't be inferior to Sword Saint Feng Qingyang and Yellow Emperor Gongsun Xianyuan. Hua Lao continued, and Hua Lao's words made Duan Lingtian inexplicably excited. The Sword Saint Feng Qingyang was still fine. He didn't know much about him. However, the Yellow Emperor Gongsun Xianyuan was someone he was very familiar with. He could even be said to be his ancestor. After all, his soul came from Hua Nation on earth. He was a descendant of Hua Nation and a descendant of Yin Huang. When Duan Lingtian thought about how he would have a chance to achieve something like Gongsun Xianyuan, the ancestor of Hua Nation, he could not suppress his excitement. Now, even I'm a little envious of your good fortune. Not only did you obtain the 7 Treasures Exquisite Pagoda's approval, but you also obtained the Sovereign Heart Sword that Sword Saint Feng Qingyang passed down to you. That's a supreme sword Tao mental cultivation method that can develop the sword heart on a mundane planet. Sometimes, I even wonder if you're the reincarnation of a deity. Otherwise, how could you have such good fortune? Hua Lao sighed as he looked at Duan Lingtian with a complicated gaze. When Duan Lingtian heard this, he smiled awkwardly. At this moment, he did not know what to say. Ever since his soul had transmigrated to this world from Earth in his previous life, everything he had experienced felt like a dream. However, he also knew that all of this was not a dream. It was all real. When Duan Lingtian recalled the fortuitous encounters he had encountered along the way, he could not help but sigh emotionally. Indeed, his good fortune was extraordinary. Regardless, after listening to Hua Lao's words, Duan Lingtian's horizons were broadened. He learned about the heavens. He also learned about the value of the sovereign heart sword that Sword Saint Feng Qingyang had passed down to him. Moreover, according to Sword Saint Feng Qingyang's message in the Sovereign Heart Sword, he seems to be a member of the Fog Rain progeny, and I'm the only successor of the Fog Rain progeny. Duan Lingtian was also filled with doubts about the Fog Rain progeny, since Sword Saint Feng Qingyang did not explain it to him in detail. If it's possible, try your best to focus on the Sovereign Heart Sword in the future. Only in that way will you have the chance to develop the Sword Heart. Of course, a Supreme Sword Dao mental cultivation method like the Sovereign Heart Sword will be of great help to you when you cultivate other martial arts. You don't have to worry about your other martial arts falling behind. Hualao told Duan Lingtian. In the beginning, Duan Lingtian did not know what Hualao meant. However, when he tried to perform the various saint-grade martial tactics that he had learned in the past, he realized that apart from being able to perform them at will, there was also a hint of sword intent that originated from the Sovereign Heart Sword. The Sovereign Heart Sword was similar to a martial tactic, but it was also separated from it. In fact, it was even above a martial tactic. The Sovereign Heart Sword was a technique that led to a myriad of techniques. Apart from that, Duan Lingtian had never forgotten about his research on the Jasper Celestial Sword. Since he could already pick up the Jasper Celestial Sword and perform it at will, in his opinion, he should be able to use the Jasper Celestial Sword now. However, before he tried to use the Jasper Celestial Sword, he still spent some time to replenish the true energy in his Qi. After recovering his true energy, Duan Lingtian was extremely careful when he infused his true energy into the Jasper Celestial Sword again. He was afraid that the situation would repeat itself, and his true energy would be sucked dry by the Jasper Celestial Sword again. After experimenting for a while, Duan Lingtian discovered that he was indeed able to use the Jasper Celestial Sword. Naturally, with his current strength, it was impossible for him to unleash the full strength of the Jasper Celestial Sword. Even so, the strength he displayed when he infused his true energy into the Jasper Celestial Sword was still ridiculously powerful. Duan Lingtian made a rough estimation. He infused 30% of the true energy in his Qi into the Jasper Celestial Sword, and casually swung the sword. The strength he displayed was not inferior to the strength he displayed when he unleashed his full strength. If I infuse 50% of the true energy in my Qi into the Jasper Celestial Sword, I'm 90% confident that I can kill an imminent saint stage powerhouse. After experimenting infusing 30% of the true energy in his Qi and 50% of the true energy into the Jasper Celestial Sword, and swinging the sword twice, Duan Lingtian had a rough idea. However, if it's a saint stage powerhouse, even if it's the weakest saint stage powerhouse, with my current cultivation base, I might not be able to kill him even if I infuse all of the true energy in my Qi into the Jasper Celestial Sword. The difference between a saint stage powerhouse and a non-saint stage powerhouse is too huge. Duan Lingtian knew this very well. With his current cultivation base, even if he fully activated the Jasper Celestial Sword, he would only be able to instantly kill an imminent saint stage powerhouse. He might be able to threaten a saint stage powerhouse with just one swing of his sword, but he would not be able to kill him. However, if my cultivation base breaks through to the paramount saint rudiment stage, my Qi will expand again, and my true energy will become even more vast. At that time, if I infuse all of the true energy in my Qi into the Jasper Celestial Sword, even an ordinary saint stage powerhouse might not be able to withstand my sword. When Duan Lingtian thought of this, he could not help but feel excited. Although he could defeat opponents with a higher cultivation base with his current techniques. However, after he broke through to the paramount saint rudiment stage, he would only be able to defeat an imminent saint stage powerhouse, at most even if he used all of his techniques, regardless of the Jasper Celestial Sword. The difference between a saint stage powerhouse and a non-saint stage powerhouse was too huge. Even with his techniques that far surpass people at the same level as him, and his terrifying physical strength, it was still difficult for him to defeat a saint stage powerhouse when he was not at the saint stage. However, everything would be different with the Jasper Celestial Sword. By the time he broke through to the Paramount Saint Rudiment stage, none of the powerhouses at the bottom of the Saint stage would be able to withstand his sword with all of his might. However, I can't do that unless I have no other choice. After all, if I exhaust all of my true energy, I'll be like an arrow at the end of its flight. If someone manages to seize the opportunity at that time, I won't be able to escape death. Duan Lingtian knew this very well. After experimenting for a while, 80% of the true energy in Duan Lingtian's Qi had been depleted, and he had to start recovering it again. After spending some time to recover his true energy, Duan Lingtian did not leave the Seven Treasures Exquisite Pagoda in a hurry. Instead, he stayed on the third level of the Seven Treasures Exquisite Pagoda and cultivated seriously in an attempt to break through to the Paramount Saint Rudiment stage. Once he broke through to the Paramount Saint Rudiment stage, he would not be afraid of ordinary Saint stage powerhouses with the Jasper Celestial Sword in his hand. Due to this reason, Duan Lingtian cultivated even more diligently. While Duan Lingtian was cultivating with all his might, there were also people in the Moon Illumination sect's inner court who were in a bad mood. Duan Lingtian really doesn't want to come out? Lu Huan's expression was grave. It did not cross his mind that Duan Lingtian had not left Li Hong's mansion ever since he came back. He did not even have a chance to make a move on him. Don't tell me I have no choice but to let him continue like this? Lu Huan paced back and forth with a frown on his face. His expression was so grave that it seemed like it could drip water at any time. If he stays in Li Hong's mansion for a few years, don't tell me I have no choice but to let him continue to grow like this? No, this can't go on. Lu Huan gasped and shook his head continuously as though he had gone mad. With Duan Lingtian's innate talent, he'll most likely be stronger than me in a few years. I can still deal with him now, but I won't be a match for him in a few years' time. Although Lu Huan was unwilling to admit it, he had no choice but to admit it. Duan Lingtian's innate talent in martial Dao was indeed so high that it was shocking. I can't let him continue to grow like this. Chapter 1548. A month later, a few Moon Illumination sect's disciples found a corpse not far away from the Moon Illumination sect's monastery gate. There was a Moon Illumination sect's disciple identity token hanging on the corpse's waist. Moreover, it was an inner court disciple's identity token. The entire Moon Illumination sect was in an uproar. Killing a Moon Illumination sect's disciple near the Moon Illumination sect, an inner court disciple on top of that, was undoubtedly a slap to the Moon Illumination sect's face. Who was so bold? When the Moon Illumination sect was in an uproar because of the inner court disciple's death, a shocking piece of news soon arrived. The inner court disciple who was killed witnessed Elder Zhaofeng's death with his own eyes. That's why he was killed. Nobody knew where this news came from, let alone who spread it. However, this news swept through the entire Moon Illumination sect in just a few days. The Moon Illumination sect was in an uproar again. Elder Zhaofeng was dead? The first to be shocked were the nominal disciples in Zhaofeng's mansion. All of them were dumbfounded when they learned about Zhaofeng's death. No wonder the sect leader came to ask us if Elder Zhaofeng told us where he went. Perhaps, the sect leader already knew something had happened to Elder Zhaofeng at that time. The group of nominal disciples in Zhaofeng's mansion looked at each other. They could guess a lot of things at once. At the same time, many inner court elders who usually hung out with Zhaofeng also visited Zhaofeng's mansion to confirm whether this was true or not. When they learned that Zhaofeng had left for a long time and had not returned, they realized the news was not groundless. After the confirmation of these inner court elders, it did not take long for the entire Moon Illumination sect to confirm that something had happened to Zhaofeng. In the Moon Illumination sect's forbidden area, smack! A teacup was smashed on the ground and shattered into pieces. The person who smashed the teacup was an old man. Currently, the old man's face was as grave as it could get. Soon after, the old man left his mansion and went to a mansion nearby. Sect leader, didn't you say nobody in the sect knows where Zhaofeng went? Why did someone spread the news that an inner court disciple had personally witnessed Zhaofeng's death and was even silenced? The person the old man was looking for was none other than Jiang Wei, the sect leader of Moon Illumination sect. Jiang Wei did not look surprised when he saw that the old man had come to question him. Instead, he smiled bitterly and said, "Martial uncle, the news is completely groundless. I've been investigating for a few days, but I still can't find out where the news came from or who spread it. There must be someone behind this." Jiang Wei said with certainty, "I don't care if someone is behind this. I have to get to the bottom of this matter. If Sect Master can't do anything about it, I'll investigate it myself. These old bones of mine haven't moved for a long time. Perhaps I can take this opportunity to move a little more," the old man said in a deep voice. "Martial Uncle Qian, don't worry. I will definitely find out the cause of Zhao Feng's death as soon as possible," Jiang Wei said confidently. Martial Uncle Qian, just wait for the good news. He was really worried that the old man would do it himself. He knew the old man's temper. For that illegitimate son of Zhao Feng, he could do almost anything. "Sect leader, my patience is limited." After giving Jiang Wei a deep look, the old man turned and left. After the old man left, the respectful expression on Jiang Wei's face was no longer there. It was replaced with a grave expression. Although the old man was his senior, he was still the sect leader of the Moon Illumination sect. The old man's threatening attitude made him feel extremely displeased. He felt like his dignity as the sect leader was being challenged. However, when he thought about the old man's strength that was not inferior to his, the dissatisfaction in his heart disappeared. Moreover, the old man was still the guardian of their Moon Illumination sect no matter what. He was duty-bound to help the old man. "I hope you've hidden yourself well. Otherwise, once I find you, I'll make sure you die a graveless death." The moment Jiang Wei thought about the person who spread the news of Zhao Feng's death, his expression turned grave. "Up until now, apart from myself and Martial Uncle Qian, the only person who knows about Zhao Feng's death is Lu Huan. Apart from that, I think only the person who killed Zhao Feng knows about his death." As the sect leader of the Moon Illumination sect, Jiang Wei was naturally very meticulous. Due to this reason, the first person he suspected was Lu Huan. One must admit that Jiang Wei was really smart. The first person he suspected was the mastermind who spread the news. However, as the mastermind, how could Lu Huan give himself away so easily? Due to this reason, even though Jiang Wei tried to test Lu Huan again and again, his efforts were in vain. "It's time for me to release another round of shocking news." When Lu Huan saw Jiang Wei leaving his mansion again, a cold smirk crept up on the corner of his mouth. "Duan Lingtian by Li Hong. Get ready to receive my gift. I don't believe you, Duan Lingtian, will be able to sit still after hearing this news." Lu Huan muttered to himself as his eyes gleamed fiercely. When the commotion caused by Zhao Feng's death in the entire Moon Illumination sect had died down, another piece of news spread out and shocked the entire Moon Illumination sect. The reason Elder Zhao Feng left that day was to avenge his personal disciple Feng Fan, who knew there's always someone better than him. Not only did Elder Zhao Feng fail to avenge him, but he even lost his life. This was the news that spread in the Moon Illumination sect again. Similarly, no one knew where the news came from, and no one knew who spread the news. However, this news was as shocking as the previous one. It caused an uproar in the entire Moon Illumination sect. As it turns out, Feng Fan is Elder Zhao Feng's direct disciple. No wonder he has a saint weapon that's inscribed with a 2-star saint inscription, when he's just an outer court disciple. No wonder he didn't have the intention of becoming a disciple of the outer court elders, even though he was a powerhouse who was ranked on the earth ranking. At this moment, many outer court disciples' doubts were answered. As it turned out, there was a reason behind all these doubts in the past. Avenge Feng Fan. I remember the person who killed Feng Fan. Seems to be senior brother Duan Lingtian, right? Soon after, someone said in shock. That's right. The person who killed Feng Fan was none other than senior brother Duan Lingtian. However, it was Feng Fan who took the initiative to issue a death duel invitation and invited senior brother Duan Lingtian to a death duel. Even if he's dead, it's only because he's not strong enough. He can't blame senior brother Duan Lingtian, right? If Elder Zhao Feng really went to seek revenge from senior brother Duan Lingtian, then he really doesn't have the bearing an inner court elder should have. That's right. Once the death duel invitation is issued, it's up to fate. This is the rule passed down in our Moon Illumination sect. Even if he's an inner court elder, he still has to abide by it. I heard senior brother Duan Lingtian left the sect for a period of time. Don't tell me Elder Zhao Feng was killed after he left? I wonder what the person who spread the news is trying to do. Don't tell me he's trying to say the person who killed Elder Zhao Feng is senior brother Duan Lingtian? Ridiculous. Even if senior brother Duan Lingtian is a Saint Rudiment stage martial cultivator now, it's almost impossible for him to kill Elder Zhao Feng. Elder Zhao Feng is a paramount Saint Rudiment stage powerhouse. Elder Zhao Feng is ranked in the top 3 among the inner court elders. Not only is he a paramount Saint Rudiment stage powerhouse, but he's also a powerhouse at the peak of the paramount Saint Rudiment stage. It's almost impossible to kill him without the strength of an eminent Saint stage powerhouse. Don't forget that senior brother Duan Lingtian has Elder Bai Li Hong behind him. Elder Bai Li Hong's strength is comparable to an eminent Saint stage powerhouse. Don't tell me you suspect Elder Bai Li Hong killed Elder Zhao Feng. Unlike the previous news, this news was getting more and more intense because it was related to Duan Lingtian, who had been in the limelight in the Moon Illumination sect recently. In the end, many people even suspected that Zhao Feng had been killed by Bai Li Hong. It's a pity that Bai Li Hong happened to meet the sect leader when he left my mansion. Otherwise, even the sect leader would suspect him. Although Lu Huan was satisfied with the effect of the news he spread, he also felt a little regretful. However, even if the sect leader knows it's impossible for Duan Lingtian to kill Zhao Feng, this matter won't end so quickly. Perhaps, Bai Li Hong found a powerhouse who protected Duan Lingtian on his way back to his hometown to kill Zhao Feng? Lu Huan smiled sinisterly. All in all, Duan Lingtian won't be able to get away from this matter for the time being. I can only hope that he'll be so annoyed by this matter that he'll go out for a walk. The moment Lu Huan thought of this, his eyes gleamed fiercely. This was his true motive. Meanwhile, the Moon Illumination sect's forbidden area was not calm at all. Junior Uncle Qian, I'm willing to swear on the lightning penalty oath and guarantee with my life that when Elder Zhao Feng's soul pearl shattered, I saw Elder Bai Li with my own eyes. Jiang Wei said to the old man in front of him. If Elder Bai Li was the one who killed Elder Zhao Feng, there's no way Elder Bai Li would be able to rush back so quickly. Moreover, as far as I know, Elder Bai Li had been staying in Elder Lu Huan's mansion for a long time before that. In other words, Elder Bai Li happened to be in Elder Lu Huan's mansion when Elder Zhao Feng was killed. It's impossible for him to kill Elder Zhao Feng. At this moment, Jiang Wei really wanted to hack the person who spread the news again and again into 1,000 pieces. Before the first wave had subsided, another wave had arisen. He really wanted to see the world plunged into chaos. Perhaps he didn't do it himself. Instead, he found a powerhouse to protect Duan Lingtian. The old man narrowed his eyes as a cold gleam flashed in them. He said coldly, "No matter what, I'll confront him about this matter." Junior Uncle Qian, you're putting me in a difficult position. Chapter 1549. Sect Leader. I know you're troubled because he's a 3-star Saint Inscription Master. Don't worry, Sect Leader. As long as he can prove that he has nothing to do with Zhao Feng's death, I'm willing to swallow my pride and apologize to him. The old man said in a deep voice. Now that things had developed to this stage, Jiang Wei knew he could no longer reject the old man. Even if he wanted to, he could not. The old man had already made up his mind, and it was not something he could interfere with. Junior Uncle Qian, since you've made up your mind, I'll follow you, Jiang Wei said. The old man did not say anything else, and allowed Jiang Wei to follow him. Soon after, both of them arrived at Bai Li Hong's mansion together. When Bai Li Hong received the report that the sect leader had arrived, he was not surprised. He had already heard about the news that was spreading like wildfire outside. However, it had nothing to do with him, so he was not worried at all. Although he was not worried, he still felt a little heavy-hearted. If the news was true, did it not mean Zhao Feng had tried to kill his junior brother? He thought Lu Huan was the only one who wanted to kill his junior brother. He had overlooked Zhao Feng. Fortunately, nothing happened to junior brother. Otherwise, how could I face teacher? The moment Bai Li Hong thought of this, he felt a little fearful. However, he was surprised when he arrived at the main hall. This was because the sect leader, Jiang Wei, was not the only one who came to his mansion. There was another familiar face as well. It was none other than one of the few saint stage powerhouses in the Moon Illumination sect. It was none other than the supreme elder of the Moon Illumination sect, Qian Kong. Greetings, sect leader Elder Qian. Although Bai Li Hong was a 3-star saint inscription master and had a special position in the Moon Illumination sect, he did not dare to be arrogant in front of Jiang Wei and Qian Kong. Elder Bai Li. Jiang Wei smiled in response to Bai Li Hong. If it was any other time, Qian Kong would have smiled in response as well. However, he did not beat around the bush and said, Elder Bai Li, I'm here today because of Zhao Feng. Rumor has it that Elder Qian and Elder Zhao Feng were once master and disciple. Although I don't know the reason, Elder Zhao Feng didn't become Elder Qian's disciple. However, under such circumstances, Elder Qian is still so concerned about Elder Zhao Feng's matter. It's really admirable. Although he was shocked that Qian Kong was here because of Zhao Feng, Bai Li Hong still responded with a smile. He had also heard about the matter between Qian Kong and Zhao Feng. He had always wondered why Qian Kong did not accept Zhao Feng as his disciple. Although I believe in Elder Bai Li's character, I still hope to get a clear answer from you. Is Zhao Feng's death related to you? Qian Kong stared at Bai Li Hong with burning eyes, as though he wanted to see the slightest change on Bai Li Hong's face. It has nothing to do with me. Bai Li Hong still had a smile on his face, but he shook his head. Do you dare to swear that you have nothing to do with Zhao Feng's death? Qian Kong continued asking. Upon hearing Qian Kong's words, the smile on Bai Li Hong's face froze. He asked in a deep voice, Elder Qian, you don't believe me? It's not that I don't believe you. I just want to confirm it. Elder Bai Li, as long as you're willing to swear that you have nothing to do with Zhao Feng's death, I, Qian Kong, am willing to bow and apologize to you. Qian Kong spoke again with a shocked expression on his face. Naturally, Qian Kong's words shocked Bai Li Hong as well. Qian Kong was willing to bow and apologize to him for Zhao Feng? Did he hear wrongly? Bai Li Hong could not help but look at the sect leader Jiang Wei, who had been silent all this while. It was as though he wanted to get an answer from Jiang Wei about why Qian Kong cared so much about Zhao Feng. Unfortunately, although Jiang Wei knew the truth, it was impossible for him to reveal it. Elder Bai Li, the relationship between Elder Zhao Feng and Elder Qian surpasses that of a father and a son. Jiang Wei could only say this. Surpasses that of a father and a son? Upon hearing Jiang Wei's words, Bai Li Hong scoffed. If the relationship was really better than that of a father and a son, why did Qian Kong not take Zhao Feng as his disciple back then? Elder Qian, you're doubting my character by asking me to swear on the lightning penalty oath. I, Bai Li Hong, have never lied in my entire life. However, since you want me to swear on the lightning penalty oath, I'll do as you wish. Bai Li Hong said solemnly as he looked at Qian Kong. After he finished speaking, he swore on the lightning penalty oath in front of Qian Kong and Jiang Wei. The oath stated that Zhao Feng's death had nothing to do with him. Boom, 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 boom. 9 claps of thunder sounded, and the lightning penalty oath came true. The lightning penalty did not descend from the sky. This meant Bai Li Hong was not lying. Jiang Wei sighed in relief immediately. He was really worried this matter had something to do with Bai Li Hong. If that was the case, he would be stuck in the middle. Qian Kong was like a guardian of the Moon Illumination sect. Bai Li Hong was the only 3-star saint inscription master in the Moon Illumination sect. Both of them were very important to the Moon Illumination sect, and he did not want to lose either of them. Now that things had come to this, it was finally a happy ending. Elder Bai Li, I apologize for my rudeness. Qian Kong was a man of his words. After Bai Li Hong swore on the lightning penalty oath, he bowed and apologized to him. Although he wasn't very sincere, he still lowered his arrogant head. Elder Qian, if there's nothing else, please forgive me for not seeing you out, Bai Li Hong said indifferently. Based on his words, it was obvious he was asking his guest to leave. He knew he was a good-tempered person, but Qian Kong's actions today had infuriated him. Junior Uncle Qian, let's go. Naturally, Jiang Wei could feel Bai Li Hong's feelings. He immediately persuaded Qian Kong to leave as well. There's no hurry. However, Qian Kong shook his head. At the same time, he looked at Bai Li Hong and said, Elder Bai Li Hong, please ask your junior brother, Duan Lingtian, to come out. Elder Qian, what do you mean? Bai Li Hong's expression changed drastically as he asked in an unfriendly tone. Elder Bai Li, I believe Zhao Feng's death has nothing to do with you. However, I can't confirm that this matter has nothing to do with your junior brother, Duan Lingtian. Therefore, please ask your junior brother to come out so I can confirm it. Qian Kong said. What? Elder Qian Kong, do you intend to ask my junior brother to swear on the lightning penalty oath that he has nothing to do with Elder Zhao Feng's death? Bai Li Hong sneered. That's right. Qian Kong nodded as a matter of course. Elder Qian, I swore on the lightning penalty oath earlier, not only because I respect you, but also because I didn't want to make things difficult for the sect leader. Otherwise, with my temper, I wouldn't have swore on the lightning penalty oath. To me, it's an insult to my character. Bai Li Hong said with a cold face. His words were firm. Elder Bai Li, I've already apologized to you. Qian Kong said in a deep voice. You've apologized? Bai Li Hong smiled brightly. Elder Qian, if you put it this way, then I would like to ask. If I apologize to you after this, are you willing to swear on the lightning penalty oath according to my request? Why not? Qian Kong said nonchalantly. Very good. Elder Qian, please swear on the lightning penalty oath that you've never done anything improper with your mother. What do you think? Although I believe in your character, I'd still like to confirm it with the lightning penalty oath. Bai Li Hong ignored Qian Kong's sudden change of expression and said coldly. These words could not be said to be not poisonous. Even Jiang Wei's expression changed. True energy surged in his body. He was afraid Qian Kong would attack Bai Li Hong in a fit of rage. He was prepared to protect Bai Li Hong. His heart was filled with bitterness and helplessness. Why did he not realize Elder Bai Li's mouth was so vicious in the past? Even if Qian Kong dared to swear on the lightning penalty oath, he would not swear on it. This was because it was a great insult to him. Not only was it an insult to him, but it was also an insult to his mother. Bai Li Hong, how many years has it been? You're the first person to arouse my killing intent. Qian Kong stared coldly at Bai Li Hong as killing intent flashed in his eyes. If it was not for Jiang Wei, whose strength was not inferior to his, and if it was not for the fact that he was the one who insulted Bai Li Hong's character first, he would have made his move long ago. Elder Qian, I just want to take this opportunity to tell you that some lightning penalty oaths can't be made just because you haven't done it before. Bai Li Hong was not afraid of Qian Kong at all, as he said nonchalantly. After he finished speaking, he did not wait for Qian Kong to reply, before he looked at Jiang Wei again. Sect leader, I'm sure you've already investigated my junior brother's background. Do you think he has the ability to kill Elder Zhao Feng without my interference? The lightning penalty oath I swore earlier is enough to prove that Elder Zhao Feng's death has nothing to do with me and my junior brother. Bai Li Hong said solemnly. Elder Qian Kong has already insulted my character today. I won't let him insult my junior brother's character as well. If I, Bai Li Hong, can't even protect my junior brother, how am I supposed to continue living in this world? When Bai Li Hong reached the end of his sentence, he became agitated. Elder Bai Li, please calm down. It's my fault for not telling Junior Uncle Qian about this. Jiang Wei became anxious when he saw how agitated Bai Li Hong was. At the same time, he looked at Qian Kong and said, Junior Uncle Qian, since Elder Bai Li swore on the lightning penalty oath that he has nothing to do with Elder Zhao Feng's death, I'm sure it has nothing to do with his junior brother, Duan Lingtian. I've investigated his junior brother, Duan Lingtian. He's from Mound Hill City, one of the 18 cities under our Moon Illumination sect. Moreover, he's from the mortal continent, and doesn't have any other background. With his strength, it's impossible for him to kill Elder Bai Li. With his background, it's also impossible for him to get someone more powerful than Elder Zhao Feng to help him. Jiang Wei finished his words quickly, mainly to dispel Qian Kong's doubts. He was worried Qian Kong would pick a fight with Bai Li Hong again. Upon hearing Jiang Wei's words, Qian Kong's expression eased a little. However, his eyes were still filled with killing intent when he looked at Bai Li Hong. Bai Li Hong looked at him fearlessly, as though he was not worried Qian Kong would attack him. Humph. Chapter 1550. No matter what, Bai Li Hong was still a 3-star saint inscription master. He was important to the Moon Illumination sect. Qian Kong knew Jiang Wei would stop him if he made a move. Moreover, Jiang Wei would be displeased, so he held himself back and did not make a move. If he was alone, he would not be afraid of Jiang Wei since his cultivation base was at the saint stage. However, he still had many descendants in the Moon Illumination sect. If he wanted his descendants to live a good life, he could not offend Jiang Wei. He had to know when to stop. Just like now, Jiang Wei had already explained to him. If he still did not know what was good for him, it would mean he was deliberately going against Jiang Wei. Elder Bai Li, I'm really sorry for the trouble I've caused you today. After Qian Kong left, Jiang Wei sighed in relief and apologized to Bai Li Hong with a wry smile on his face. Sect leader, this has nothing to do with you. You don't have to apologize. Bai Li Hong shook his head. Naturally, he would not vent his anger toward Qian Kong on the sect leader. The sect leader had always taken care of him. Otherwise, he would have left the Moon Illumination sect long ago, because he could not resist the temptation of other forces. No matter what, I'm partly responsible for this. How about this? I heard many of your junior brother's friends and family have joined the sect. I'll give them 1 million merit points each as an apology to you, Elder Bai Li. Jiang Wei was a shrewd person. He knew Bai Li Hong would definitely reject him if he compensated him directly. That was why he said he would give Feng Wu Dao and the others merit points. As it turned out, he was right to do so. In that case, thank you very much, sect leader. Although Bai Li Hong wasn't willing to accept Jiang Wei's compensation, this compensation was related to his junior brother's family and friends. Moreover, such a large amount of merit points would be of great use to his junior brother's family and friends, so he didn't refuse. You're too kind, Elder Bai Li. Jiang Wei sighed in relief when he saw Bai Li Hong had tacitly accepted the apology. He bade farewell and left. As the sect leader of the Moon Illumination sect, it was only natural that Jiang Wei would agree to it. In just half a day, an inner court elder came to Bai Li Hong's mansion and transferred the merit points to Feng Wu Dao and the others. 1 million merit points each. Currently, Feng Wu Dao and the others were no longer the hotheads who had just arrived at the Moon Illumination sect. Naturally, they knew what merit points meant. Due to this reason, all of them were dumbfounded. Are these merit points given to us by the sect leader? Only after that inner court elder left did Feng Wu Dao and the others withdraw their gazes from the crystal cards in their hands. For a time, they looked at each other and saw astonishment in each other's eyes. They had no idea what was going on. To them, the sect leader of the Moon Illumination sect was high and mighty. With their current status, they would never be able to come into contact with him at all. However, such a high and mighty existence had actually given each of them 1 million merit points for no reason. It must have been Elder Bai Li who fought for us, Sima Changfeng asserted. At this moment, the others also deeply felt that this was the case. Only that Elder Bai Li possessed such enormous prestige. By the time Duan Lingtian learned about this matter, it was already a few days later. As soon as he came out of the 7 Treasures exquisite pagoda, he came to look for Feng Wu Dao and the others to see if they were getting used to staying in the Moon Illumination sect. At the same time, he also learned from Feng Wu Dao and the others that they had obtained 1 million merit points each. When he heard that the merit points came from the sect leader of the Moon Illumination sect, he was a little surprised as well. At this moment, he could faintly sense that things might not be as simple as they seemed. What a joke! Feng Wu Dao and the others had obtained 1 million merit points each. In total, it was close to 10 million merit points. Even if the sect leader of the Moon Illumination sect did not lack merit points, it was impossible for him to give them away like this. Moreover, he had given them to a group of people who had just entered the Moon Illumination sect. Out of curiosity, Duan Lingtian immediately went to look for Bai Li Hong. Senior brother, I heard that the sect leader gave Uncle Feng and the others 1,000,000 merit points each. What's going on? When Duan Lingtian saw Bai Li Hong, he did not beat around the bush and asked. When Bai Li Hong saw the doubt on Duan Lingtian's face, he smiled faintly. Actually, it's nothing much. It's just that the sect leader insisted on giving me an apology. He knew that I wouldn't accept it if he gave it to me directly, so he came up with this idea. I have no choice but to accept it. The sect leader gave you an apology? When Duan Lingtian heard this, he was even more confused. Why did he give you an apology? Because of Zhao Feng. Bai Li Hong stared deeply at Duan Lingtian. During these few days, Bai Li Hong had been thinking about this question over and over again. Was Zhao Feng's death really a coincidence? Although he didn't think that his junior brother had the strength to kill Zhao Feng, it was too much of a coincidence. In the past, Zhao Feng had left the sect on his own many times, but nothing had ever happened to him. However, this time, something had happened while he was hunting down his junior brother. He had lost his life as soon as something happened. Zhao Feng? When Duan Lingtian heard Bai Li Hong's words, he raised an eyebrow. I think I've heard of this person before. He seems to be Feng Fan's master whom I killed before. Although Duan Lingtian looked calm on the surface, ripples could be seen in his heart. It seems like Zhao Feng has a soul pearl as well. Duan Lingtian thought to himself. Junior brother, there are 2 pieces of news that have been spreading outside recently. I'm sure you haven't heard about it, right? Bai Li Hong asked with a smile. What news? Indeed. Duan Lingtian did not know about it since he had been cultivating in closed-door cultivation on the 3rd level of the 7 Treasures Exquisite Pagoda to break through to the Paramount Saint Rudiment stage. Although he had not made the final breakthrough yet, he had already reached the final bottleneck. Feng Wudao and the others did not know about the 2 pieces of news since they did not go out recently. Therefore, it was impossible for them to tell Duan Lingtian about it. Then, Bai Li Hong told Duan Lingtian about the 2 pieces of news that had been spreading outside. Duan Lingtian raised an eyebrow. I can't believe so many things have happened outside while I was in closed-door cultivation. Senior brother, who do you think is the one who spread these 2 pieces of news? Is there even a need to guess? Bai Li Hong narrowed his eyes. A cold gleam flashed in his eyes, as though he was about to devour someone. Indeed, there's no need to guess. Duan Lingtian smiled. As for the compensation from the sect leader, it has something to do with the news. A few days ago, the sect leader and Elder Qian Kong came together to confirm if Zhao Feng's death had anything to do with me. When Bai Li Hong reached this part of his sentence, he told Duan Lingtian what had happened a few days ago. Elder Qian Kong? Duan Lingtian was puzzled. He's the supreme elder of the Moon Illumination sect. He's one of the few saint stage powerhouses in the Moon Illumination sect. Bai Li Hong explained. Saint stage powerhouse. Duan Lingtian was shocked. Could it be that he's related to Zhao Feng? Since Zhao Feng's death could make Qian Kong go that far, it was impossible for him to believe that the 2 of them had nothing to do with each other. I also didn't expect Qian Kong to apologize to me for Zhao Feng's death. To be able to make a saint stage powerhouse bow down to him. The relationship between him and Zhao Feng must not be simple. It's impossible that they're not even master and disciple. Bai Li Hong said confidently. Maybe he's his illegitimate son. Duan Lingtian said casually. It did not cross Duan Lingtian's mind that his casual remark, which sounded like a joke, happened to hit the mark. Senior brother, the lightning penalty oath that you made Qian Kong swear on is really ruthless. At that time, Qian Kong must have wanted to kill you, right? Duan Lingtian seemed to be smiling, but his heart was heavy. The reason Bai Li Hong had acted that way was to protect him. However, when he turned around, he did not even admit to killing Zhao Feng in front of Bai Li Hong. Of course, he wanted to kill me. Bai Li Hong smirked. Unfortunately, the sect leader won't let him have his way. Moreover, even if he really kills me, he won't have an easy time in the Moon Illumination sect. At that time, not only the sect leader, but the other saint stage powerhouses in the sect will be dissatisfied with him as well. He might be able to walk away, But he won't be alone unless he doesn't care about his descendants. Although Bai Li Hong said it casually, Duan Lingtian could feel the danger that Bai Li Hong was facing at that time. He was touched, but at the same time he was afraid. If something happened to Bai Li Hong, because of him, he would never forgive himself for the rest of his life. Senior brother, there's something that I haven't told you yet. After taking a deep breath, Duan Lingtian said to Bai Li Hong, I killed Zhao Feng. Boom! When Duan Lingtian's words entered Bai Li Hong's ears, it was like a bolt from the blue. His junior brother had killed Zhao Feng? Originally, although he guessed Zhao Feng's death had something to do with his junior brother, it did not cross his mind that his junior brother was the one who killed Zhao Feng. He only thought his junior brother had a hidden background and could order some powerhouse to kill Zhao Feng. However, after listening to Duan Lingtian's words, he realized he had made a mistake. Junior brother, why you really killed Zhao Feng? Bai Li Hong asked in disbelief after being stunned for a long time. Senior brother, there's no need for me to lie to you about this. Before I left the sect, I purposely spread the news that I was going back to my hometown to lure Lu Huan in. Who knew Zhao Feng would come after me instead of Lu Huan? It was completely out of my expectations. Duan Lingtian said, he wanted to kill me but unfortunately, he died in my hands in the end. Junior brother, you should have told me about your plan in advance. The reason Lu Huan didn't chase after you was because I kept an eye on him after you left. Bai Li Hong smiled wryly. Under my watch, how could he have the chance to chase after you? Senior brother you. Duan Lingtian was rendered speechless by Bai Li Hong's words. He was wondering why Lu Huan did not chase after him with his character. As it turned out, it was his senior brother who stopped Lu Huan. Junior brother, if you have any plans in the future, it's better for you to discuss them with me. I don't want to ruin your good deed again. Bai Li Hong sighed. He emphasized the word good deed. Senior brother, I shouldn't have kept it from you. Chapter 1551. Junior brother, you actually managed to kill Zhao Feng. That Zhao Feng was at the Paramount Saint Rudiment stage. In terms of strength, among the people below the Saint Rudiment stage in the sect, only a few vice-sect leaders, another inner court elder, and I were able to suppress him. What level has your current strength reached? Bai Li Hong asked with a solemn expression. He was curious about Duan Lingtian's current strength. To tell you the truth, senior brother, I'm not afraid of anyone below the saint stage right now. Duan Lingtian did not hide the truth and replied bluntly. His words were filled with confidence. Naturally, there was something else he did not say. When he had broken through to the Paramount Saint Rudiment stage, he was confident he would be able to kill an ordinary saint stage powerhouse. You're confident you'll be able to kill an imminent saint stage powerhouse? Bai Li Hong sucked in a cold breath. Yes, Duan Lingtian nodded. Although an imminent saint stage powerhouse was strong, with his current strength, he only needed one strike to kill his opponent, if he used the Celestial Supreme Treasure, the Jasper Celestial Sword. Looks like I really don't have to worry about your safety anymore, junior brother. Your current strength has already surpassed me as your senior brother. Bai Li Hong sighed emotionally. He did not doubt Duan Lingtian's words at all. At the same time, he was also happy for Duan Lingtian. This meant his junior brother would be able to protect himself now. No matter how strong I am, senior brother will always be Duan Lingtian's senior brother. Duan Lingtian said solemnly. Upon hearing Duan Lingtian's words, Bai Li Hong nodded with a smile on his face. Junior brother. Suddenly, Bai Li Hong seemed to have recalled something. The smile on his face disappeared as he said to Duan Lingtian solemnly, You can just tell me about your current strength, but you can't reveal it to others. Otherwise, I'm afraid you'll get into trouble. I understand. Duan Lingtian nodded. He was not stupid, so he naturally knew what Bai Li Hong meant by inviting trouble. If the Supreme Elder Qian Kong were to find out about his current strength, he would probably denounce him at the first possible moment. It was because his current strength was sufficient to easily kill Zhao Feng. Apart from that, it's obvious that Lu Huan was the one who released those two pieces of news. He must know that he can't do anything to us. But he still did it, so he must have something in mind. Bai Li Hong added. It's not hard to guess what he's after. He must have seen that I haven't left the manor for a long time after returning, and was deeply afraid that after a few years of secluded cultivation, I would become even stronger than him. At that time, the initiative between him and me would completely change. Duan Lingtian's eyes flashed as he spoke with certainty. That should be the case. Bai Li Hong nodded in agreement, and then laughed mockingly. Unfortunately, he probably never imagined even in his dreams that junior brother's current strength is far superior to his. Junior brother, you can even kill Zhao Feng. So killing him is as easy as killing a chicken or cutting grass. Since he can't sit still, I'll play along with him and have some fun with him. Duan Lingtian's eyes flashed coldly as he said coldly. When he left the Moon Illumination sect, he was not afraid of Lu Huan at all. At that time, he had not obtained the legacy of the Sovereign Heart Sword, and he could not use the Celestial Supreme Treasure, the Jasper Celestial Sword. Currently, his strength was incomparable to before. Naturally, he was not afraid of Lu Huan at all. This time, senior brother, I won't cause any trouble, Bai Li Hong said awkwardly when he heard Duan Lingtian's words. However, junior brother, I suggest that you wait for a while before making your move. At this moment, I'm afraid there are other eyes on you apart from Lu Huan. Bai Li Hong seemed to have recalled something as he spoke with a solemn expression. Senior brother, are you referring to Qian Kong? Duan Lingtian raised an eyebrow. Yes, Bai Li Hong nodded. I have a feeling that the relationship between Qian Kong and Zhao Feng is not ordinary. It has even surpassed the relationship between a direct disciple and a direct disciple. Based on Qian Kong's behavior a few days ago, he definitely won't let Zhao Feng's death go so easily. Due to this reason, I'm worried he's watching your every move. Understood. Duan Lingtian nodded. He had a plan in his heart. In that case, I'll wait until I've broken through to the Paramount Saint Rudiment stage, before I look for Lu Huan to have some fun. When Duan Lingtian reached the end of his sentence, he emphasized the word, have some fun. In the following days, Duan Lingtian began to repeat what he did before. He cultivated quietly on the third level of the Seven Treasures Exquisite Pagoda, ignoring everything that happened outside. Soon after, the words of Jiang Wei, the sect leader of Moon Illumination sect, spread out. Elder Bai Li has already sworn on the lightning penalty oath that he has nothing to do with Elder Zhao Feng's death. If anyone dares to slander Elder Bai Li again, they'll be punished severely. These were Jiang Wei's exact words. When Jiang Wei's words spread out in the Moon Illumination sect, the entire Moon Illumination sect was in an uproar again. As it turns out, the 9 claps of thunder a few days ago were the resonance of the 99 heavenly tribulation, when Elder Bai Li swore on the lightning penalty oath. Since he swore on the lightning penalty oath, this matter definitely has nothing to do with Elder Bai Li. I can't believe the sect leader actually asked Elder Bai Li to swear on the lightning penalty oath just for Elder Zhao Feng. Isn't he afraid Elder Bai Li will be disappointed by his actions? Elder Bai Li is the only 3-star saint inscription master in our Moon Illumination sect. If he's offended, he can just leave the sect. The other 8 great sects and the Mountainshade Black Market can't wait for Elder Bai Li to join them. The sect leader has indeed gone overboard with this matter. Similar discussions spread out in the Moon Illumination sect. Most of them were on Bai Li Hong's side. At the same time, the other few supreme elders in the Moon Illumination sect's forbidden area had also learned about this matter. They immediately went to look for the sect leader, Jiang Wei. Sect leader, you've gone overboard with this matter. If Elder Bai Li leaves the Moon Illumination sect because of this, you'll be the sinner of the Moon Illumination sect. Humph. It was just a Zhao Feng. Forget about the fact that Elder Bai Li didn't kill him. Even if he did, so what? Compared to Elder Bai Li, he's worthless to our Moon Illumination sect. The few supreme elders began to question Jiang Wei as soon as they saw him. At this moment, Jiang Wei felt wronged. He immediately looked at Qian Kong, who had a grave expression on his face. Junior Uncle Qian, don't tell me you want me to take the blame for this matter? Qian Kong was dragged here by the other supreme elders. Although he did not want to come, He knew he had to come at this time. Naturally, he did not come to denounce Jiang Wei. Instead, he came to stop the other supreme elders from denouncing Jiang Wei. As expected, the moment Jiang Wei's words left his mouth, the other supreme elders looked at Qian Kong one after another. Junior brother Qian, what's going on? Junior brother Qian, don't tell me you're the one who made Elder Bai Li swear on the lightning penalty oath instead of the sect leader? If that's the case, you're too muddle-headed. Senior brother Qian, I know Zhao Feng almost became your disciple, but he failed in the end, didn't he? Why do you care so much about his life and death? It's not worth it to offend Elder Bai Li because of him. The few supreme elders were either Qian Kong's senior brothers or junior brothers. All of them were from the older generation in the Moon Illumination sect. They were not as polite as Jiang Wei when they spoke to Qian Kong. What if he's my son? Faced with the accusation from his senior brothers, Qian Kong's face was terrifyingly grave. In the end, he told them about his relationship with Zhao Feng. The entire place fell silent at once. It was obvious the few supreme elders of the Moon Illumination sect did not know about the relationship between Qian Kong and Zhao Feng. When they heard Qian Kong's words, they were stunned for a moment before they smiled wryly. If that was the case, they could not blame Qian Kong anymore. After all, they would have done the same if they were in his shoes. Jiang Wei, who was standing at the side, sighed in relief at this moment. He did not care what the people below said about him. However, he had to care about the opinions of these few people before him. Not only were they his seniors, but they were also the guardians of the Moon Illumination sect. In Jiang Wei's opinion, this was the best outcome. However, he didn't know that from a certain point of view, this matter was only the beginning, and it was still far from the end. In the inner court of the Moon Illumination sect, that Duan Lingtian is so calm? Lu Huan's expression was extremely grave. Initially, he thought Duan Lingtian would lose his cool because of this incident. However, Duan Lingtian's composure had completely exceeded his imagination. At this moment, he felt embarrassed and helpless. Could it be that all the things he had done secretly were all in vain? He was unwilling to accept this. He was really unwilling to accept this. However, what could he do even if he was unwilling to accept this? Wait. I don't believe that Duan Lingtian will continue to hide in by Li Hong's mansion, Lu Huan said through gritted teeth. At the same time, in a place near the central district of the Moon Illumination sect, a figure flew out of an independent mansion behind a mountain that was covered in mist. In just a blink of an eye, it disappeared into the clouds. Soon after, the figure arrived in the depths of the mountain. Master, you're finally back, Han Xuanai said excitedly when she saw the beautiful woman with a voluptuous figure before her. Xuanai, I've already asked my friend to divine the whereabouts of Sister Kerr. She's safe now. However, she'll face a great calamity soon. That calamity is related to her life. Whether she can survive it or not will depend on her luck. The beautiful woman sighed when she saw Han Xuanai. A beautiful smile appeared on her face. When Han Xuanai heard the beautiful woman say that Kerr was safe, a smile appeared on her face. However, horror dawned on her when she heard the beautiful woman's words. A great calamity that's related to her life? Master, Senior Prophet. Did he really say that? The friend her master mentioned was the Oracle Man, who was famous in the Dao Martial Saint land. Chapter 1552. The Oracle Man was a legendary figure in the Dao Martial Saint land. Even Han Xuanai's father, the mansion master of the Greenwave Han Mansion, had never seen him before. She, on the other hand, had seen the Oracle Man once with her master when she was young. At that time, the old prophet had even divined her fate. He had said that she would travel to the distant mortal continent, the Cloud Continent, with Qing Nu in a few years. At that time, a great fortuitous encounter would be waiting for her. Until now, she still did not know what the great opportunity the Oracle Man had mentioned was. However, the trip to Cloud Continent was the happiest day of her life. There she got to know Brother Ling Tian, Sister Kerr, Sister Fei Little Gold, Little Black, and Little White. In front of them, she was free and unrestrained. They were not like the people from the Greenwave Han Mansion, who treated her like a little princess. Master, is there a way to resolve Sister Ker's calamity? Han Xuanai's voice began to tremble. She did not want anything to happen to her kind sister. She did not want to see her brother Ling Tian sad. If something really happened to Sister Ker, how would brother Ling Tian be able to accept it? That old fellow said she can only rely on herself. The beautiful woman sighed. No, I'm going to Half Moon Island. I'm going to look for Sister Ker. Han Xuanai turned around to leave as she spoke. She's no longer on Half Moon Island or Cloud Continent. The beautiful woman's words caused Han Xuanai's body to freeze completely. She turned around and looked at the beautiful woman again. Master, where's Sister Ker now? I can't tell you exactly where she is. The beautiful woman shook her head. However, I came back this time mainly to tell you that I'll be leaving for a while. Master, you're leaving? Before the beautiful woman could finish speaking, Han Xuanai's expression changed slightly. In her eyes, this master was no different from her mother. Since her master had said so, it was obvious that he would be away for a long time. Naturally, she was reluctant to part with him. Yes, the beautiful woman nodded. I'm leaving this time because I have an extremely important matter to do. As for you, your big sister Fei and those 3 little fellows, you can return to Cloud Continent to take a look. According to that old fellow's deduction, your big brother Ling Tian should have already returned to Cloud Continent. Perhaps this time you can confirm his whereabouts. Brother Ling Tian. Hearing the beautiful woman's words, Han Xuanai's eyes lit up. As for the dragons, at this point, the beautiful woman raised her hand and took out a small, exquisite sword. She passed it to Xuanai. If you come across dragons, just inject your true energy into it. As for what happens next, you don't have to worry. After handing the small sword to Xuanai, the beautiful woman disappeared without a trace. Master, Han Xuanai, who held the small sword tightly, suddenly felt like crying. All these years, her master had been staying in the Greenwave Han mansion and silently accompanying her. Now that she had left, she did not know when they would meet again. Although her master had long told her that she would leave one day, she did not expect that this day would come so soon. However, when Han Xuanai recalled that her master's cultivation base was far superior to her father's, she felt relieved. With her master's cultivation base, she could go anywhere in the world. As long as she was still around, there would be a day when they would meet again. Xuanai, from today onward, you can officially cultivate my Red Dust Progeny's mental cultivation method. You don't have to worry anymore. It's time for the successor of my Red Dust Progeny to step onto the stage. Her master's voice resonated in Han Xuanai's ears in a timely manner. After the beautiful woman left the Greenwave Han mansion, she continued to head north. Zoroastrianism. I can't believe that the Zoroastrianism's saint girl, who had gone missing for so many years, is actually someone by his side. I hope the Zoroastrianism won't go too far this time. Otherwise, even if my 7 Absolute sect is weak, I won't let this matter go so easily. Currently, the successor of my 7 Absolute sect's first Absolute, the Fog Rain Progeny, has also appeared. Perhaps, just like what that old fellow, the prophet, said, it's time for my 7 Absolute sect to step onto the stage. The beautiful woman muttered to herself. A long time ago, the 7 Absolute sect was a famous first-rate force in the Dao Martial Saint Land. Later on, when the Dao Martial Saint Land was divided into 2, the 7 Absolute sect left the mortal world and went into seclusion. It was only then that it was gradually forgotten by the world. Ever since the 7 Absolute sect was established, the number of people in the sect had never exceeded 20. However, this sect with less than 20 people had once stunned the Dao Martial Saint Land for an era. It was also during that era that a person entered the sights of the people in the Dao Martial Saint Land. He was none other than the Sword Saint, Feng Qingyang. 1 man and 1 sword. He was invincible in the Dao Martial Saint Land. One was a sect that stunned the Dao Martial Saint Land for an era, while the other was a powerhouse who stunned the Dao Martial Saint Land for an era. Not many people were aware that the Sword Saint Feng Qingyang was the successor of the Fog Rain Progeny, the first Absolute of the 7 Absolute sect. There were 7 Absolutes in the 7 Absolute sect. The fog rain progeny was the first absolute. The prophet progeny was the second absolute. The mortal world was the seventh absolute. Other than these three absolutes, there were four other absolutes that were also lurking in the Tao Martial Saint land. When the time came, they would come out of hiding and make a high-profile appearance. I heard from that old fellow, the prophet, that the successor of this generation's first absolute, the fog rain progeny, has a ridiculously high fortuitous encounter. Even he can't predict it. Perhaps I'll be lucky enough to witness the seven absolute sect's former glory. Thinking of this, the beautiful woman's autumn eyes seemed to reveal a bright and beautiful luster. Just as Han Shu and I was about to return to Half Moon Island and Cloud Continent with Li Fei and the three little fellows, a sudden incident happened. A sudden incident caused Han Shu and I to temporarily cancel her itinerary. The child in Li Fei's stomach was about to be born. In by Li Hong's mansion in the inner court of the Moon Illumination sect. Why do I feel so uneasy recently? It's as if something's going to happen. In the third level of the Seven Treasures exquisite pagoda, Duan Lingtian frowned. No matter what, he should have broken through to the Paramount Saint Rudiment stage by now. However, due to the sudden uneasiness, he could not focus on his cultivation at all, let alone break through to the Paramount Saint Rudiment stage. After forcefully cultivating for a while, Duan Lingtian realized he was getting more and more agitated. He had no choice but to leave the Seven Treasures exquisite pagoda and walk out of his room to relax. At this moment, Duan Lingtian did not think about anything else. All he wanted to do was to go out for a walk. Due to this reason, he left the Moon Illumination sect's estate after leaving by Li Hong's mansion. He did not even seem to hear the greetings from the Moon Illumination sect's disciples along the way. He was in a daze as though he had lost his soul. What's wrong with senior brother Duan Lingtian? Something doesn't seem right. Look, senior brother Duan's eyes are so dull. What happened to make him so dejected? At this moment, the Moon Illumination sect's disciples along the way also noticed that something was amiss. At this moment, Duan Lingtian looked like he had lost his soul. Duan Lingtian, you finally come out. Lu Huan had been waiting outside the Moon Illumination sect for a long time. When he saw Duan Lingtian leaving the sect alone, he secretly followed him after confirming that Bai Li Hong did not follow him. Naturally, he was very careful. He did not even plan to make a move nearby. Lu Huan, who was following behind Duan Lingtian, soon noticed the abnormality in Duan Lingtian's emotions. Don't tell me he noticed me? However, he sighed in relief when he realized Duan Lingtian was not acting strangely. Half a day had passed. Although Duan Lingtian was merely walking, he was already far away from the Moon Illumination sect. When Duan Lingtian entered a dense forest, Lu Huan finally could not hold it in anymore, and was ready to make his move. Boom! As a thunderous explosion reverberated in the air, Lu Huan, the inner court elder of the Moon Illumination sect, launched a sneak attack from behind Duan Lingtian. Not only that, the moment he made his move, he pushed his palm out with all his might in an attempt to kill Duan Lingtian. A smile crept up on the corner of Lu Huan's mouth when he saw his attack was about to land on Duan Lingtian and kill Duan Lingtian. In his opinion, he had finally gotten rid of his greatest threat after today. However, as a louder explosion reverberated in the air, the smile on Lu Huan's face froze completely. Goodness! What did he just see? Lu Huan could clearly see a layer of light shield rose from the surface of Duan Lingtian's body out of nowhere, when his attack was about to land on Duan Lingtian. Upon closer inspection, the layer of light shield was actually consolidated by streaks of rapidly moving golden sword rays. Not only that, but the light shield also blocked his attack with all his might. Horror dawned on Lu Huan's face when he saw the golden light shield merely swayed a little, and did not collapse. At this moment, it was only natural that he realized he had underestimated Duan Lingtian. Stagnant territory. Without any hesitation, Lu Huan instantly set up his territory that shrouded the area within a 100-meter radius. Lu Huan's territory was called the stagnant territory. Within this territory, apart from himself and those whose cultivation base was higher than his, the true energy in their bodies would more or less be obstructed. It was as though there was an inexplicable force that was preventing them from unleashing their full power. At the same time, Lu Huan also took out his saint weapon. In the void above his head, the spiritual qi consolidated weapon and spiritual qi consolidated beast appeared. At the same time, Duan Lingtian had also turned around. At this moment, his lifeless eyes had regained some color. He was not surprised when he saw the person who launched the sneak attack on him was Lu Huan. He said nonchalantly, "Elder Lu Huan, you really won't let go of any opportunity to kill me. You must have instigated Zhao Feng to hunt me down, right?" "So what if I did?" Lu Huan sneered. "Unfortunately, he's too useless. He was killed by someone else before he could kill you. What if I say, I was the one who killed Zhao Feng?" At this moment, Duan Lingtian's voice resonated in Lu Huan's ears again. Chapter 1553. Lu Huan was obviously stunned when he heard Duan Lingtian's true energy voice transmission. Then he said in disdain, "You think you can kill Zhao Feng? Dream on. You'll know soon enough whether it's a dream or not." Duan Lingtian replied nonchalantly. At the same time, in the void above his head, his genuine qi had also transformed into the celestial dragon's celestial body. Around the celestial dragon's celestial body, there were wisps of blood vigor pulsating continuously, making the celestial dragon's celestial body seem lifelike. All of a sudden, a dragon's roar reverberated in the air. The divine dragon phenomenon's gigantic body moved and charged toward the god weapon phenomenon, and the giant beast phenomenon, that were condensed in the void above Lu Huan's head. Lu Huan was dumbfounded when he saw the divine dragon phenomenon. Dragon? It was actually a dragon. At this moment, he even forgot about being shocked by Duan Lingtian's cultivation base at the perfection saint rudiment stage. There was only one thing in his mind, and that was Duan Lingtian's true energy consolidated beast technique had actually condensed a dragon. Moreover, it was a dragon condensed using blood essence as the foundation. Boom! Boom! Lu Huan finally regained his senses after two loud bangs. At this moment, regardless of whether it was his god weapon phenomenon or the giant beast phenomenon, they were all easily suppressed and crushed by Duan Lingtian's divine dragon phenomenon. When Lu Huan was looking at Duan Lingtian in shock, Duan Lingtian raised his hand and instantly took out the Jasper celestial sword. He only used 30% of his strength and swung it casually. Chi, chi, chi. At this moment, the sound of something shattering reverberated in the void. It was the stagnant territory that Lu Huan had consolidated using his true energy consolidated territory technique. It instantly shattered into pieces. It was destroyed by Duan Lingtian's sword. Impossible. Lu Huan's eyes widened when he saw this. There was only shock on his face. In just a blink of an eye, his true energy consolidated weapon, true energy consolidated beast, and true energy consolidated territory were all destroyed by Duan Lingtian. Only Lu Huan knew how he felt at this moment. Whoosh! Before Lu Huan could react, the Jasper immortal sword in Duan Lingtian's hand flickered again, and a beam of sword light shot forward with lightning-like speed to cut off Lu Huan's sacred artifact. It was as simple as chopping firewood. Lu Huan groaned in pain. When he looked at Duan Lingtian again, it was as if he had seen a ghost. How could you? How can he be so strong? Duan Lingtian continued Lu Huan's words with a faint smile. Elder Lu Huan, do you believe me now? Do I still feel like I'm talking nonsense? Impossible. Impossible. It's impossible for you to be so strong. Lu Huan was still unwilling to believe it. After all, it was too unbelievable. How long had it been? Duan Lingtian, who used to be like an ant in his eyes, had already become more powerful than him. Furthermore, the sword in Duan Lingtian's hand was extremely terrifying. With a casual wave of his hand, he destroyed his stagnant element domain. Nothing's impossible, Duan Lingtian said nonchalantly. At the same time, the Jasper immortal sword in his hand flickered again, and a beam of sword light shot out. This time, it was aimed at Lu Huan's chest. Lu Huan, who was prepared for this, immediately cast his defensive technique. At the same time, He moved his body in an attempt to dodge the attack. However, would he be able to dodge it? Whoosh! The sword ray whizzed past like an arrow piercing through the sky. It easily penetrated the light shield that Lu Huan cast with his defensive technique. Before Lu Huan could dodge it, it pierced through his heart. Lu Huan, the inner court elder of the Moon Illumination sect, died just like that. He was killed by an inner court disciple, who had entered the sect for less than 2 years. After putting away Lu Huan's saint weapon and spatial ring, Duan Lingtian destroyed the corpse with ease. Then, he returned to the Moon Illumination sect's estate. In reality, he did not intend to kill Lu Huan when he came out this time. He just wanted to come out and relax. This was because when he was cultivating earlier, he felt like his heart was in a mess. It was as though something was going to happen. However, after Lu Huan caused such a ruckus, the messy feeling in his heart disappeared. Duan Lingtian did not notice that at the same time when he killed Lu Huan, a figure had disappeared in a secluded place. This figure came and went without a trace. His strength was far above Duan Lingtian's. Only a powerhouse at the saint stage or above could hide in the dark without being noticed by Duan Lingtian. I can't believe this Duan Lingtian has hidden his strength so well. In this case, Qi Ming must have died in his hands as well. Not only that, but the sword in his hand gives me an extremely dangerous feeling. How strange. The saint stage powerhouse who left after Duan Lingtian gradually revealed himself. He was a sturdy middle-aged man. The sturdy middle-aged man was none other than Tai Wu, one of the Mountainshade Black Market's saint stage powerhouses in the 9 Sect Alliances district. Ever since the Mountainshade Black Market's branch leader had ordered the cancellation of the mission against Duan Lingtian, Tai Wu had been curious about Duan Lingtian. Recently, he had even been lurking near the Moon Illumination sect on a whim. Today, he discovered Duan Lingtian had actually left the Moon Illumination sect's estate when he was waiting for him. Moreover, what was even more interesting was there was a Moon Illumination sect's inner court elder following Duan Lingtian. He even wanted to kill Duan Lingtian. From the beginning until the end, he had been watching from the side. Initially, he thought Duan Lingtian would be killed. However, the outcome was completely out of his expectations. The person who died was not Duan Lingtian, but the inner court elder of the Moon Illumination sect. The divine dragon phenomenon and the mysterious treasured sword. At this moment, in his eyes, Duan Lingtian seemed to be covered by a veil that was difficult to see through. That mysterious treasured sword was so powerful. It would be a lie if he said he was not moved by it. However, every time he coveted the sword, he realized his heartbeat would speed up for no reason. It was as though the sword was a great threat to him, and could even threaten his life. Due to this reason, he did not act rashly. I'm really curious. I wonder what kind of expression the people from the Moon Illumination sect will have when they see Duan Lingtian killing their sect's elder. A sinister smile appeared on Tai Wu's face as he glanced at the Dao talisman in his hand. As a saint stage powerhouse, Tai Wu's speed was much faster than Duan Lingtian. Moreover, Duan Lingtian looked more like he was taking a stroll when he returned. For this reason, Tai Wu had arrived in the sky above the Moon Illumination sect's estate much earlier than him. The moment Tai Wu appeared in the sky above the Moon Illumination sect, the few saint stage powerhouses in the Moon Illumination sect's forbidden area, including sect leader Jiang Wei, immediately noticed him. At this moment, Tai Wu raised his hand and crushed the Dao talisman in his hand. At this moment, a mirror image appeared in the sky above the Moon Illumination sect. It was extremely clear. If Duan Lingtian was here and saw this, he would definitely be shocked. This was because it was exactly the same as the 3D mirror image on Earth in his past life. The Dao talisman that Tai Wu tossed out was a mirror image talisman. The mirror image talisman could store whatever one saw, whether it was people or objects in one's field of vision. Everything could be stored in it. After crushing the Dao talisman, Tai Wu concealed himself. At this moment, Jiang Wei and the others were also attracted by the mirror image in the sky. This was because they knew one of the two people who appeared in the mirror image. It's Lu Huan. One of the Moon Illumination sect's supreme elders exclaimed softly. Who's that young man? Lu Huan seems to be following him. A few of the Moon Illumination sect's supreme elders were looking at the mirror image in the sky. In the mirror image, a purple-clad young man was walking in front while Lu Huan was tailing him closely. Naturally, these old fellows from the Moon Illumination sect did not recognize Duan Lingtian, because they had never seen Duan Lingtian before. Although Jiang Wei had long known about Duan Lingtian's existence and had investigated Duan Lingtian, he had never seen Duan Lingtian before. Due to this reason, it was only natural that he did not recognize him. However, even though Jiang Wei and the other Moon Illumination sect's Saint Stage powerhouses did not recognize Duan Lingtian, it did not mean the others in the Moon Illumination sect did not recognize Duan Lingtian as well. When the mirror image appeared in the sky, the entire Moon Illumination sect was in an uproar. It's the sky mirror image. Many knowledgeable Moon Illumination sect's disciples exclaimed softly. The sky mirror image can only be displayed by the mirror image talisman. Although the mirror image talisman doesn't have a specific grade, it can only be drawn by a Dao talisman master, who's at least a 4-star Dao talisman. Who's the one who's so generous to use a mirror image talisman? Many of the Moon Illumination sect's elders were shocked. Look, it's Elder Lu Huan. He seems to be following someone. Many of the Moon Illumination sect's inner court disciples recognized Lu Huan. The person he's following seems to be Senior Brother Duan Lingtian? That's right. It's Senior Brother Duan Lingtian. What's Elder Lu Huan trying to do? How dare he follow Senior Brother Duan Lingtian? Don't you know? How did he do that? Senior Brother Duan Lingtian is from Mound Hill City, and his teacher is Feng Hui, the city governor of Mound Hill City. Elder Lu Huan and City Governor Feng Hui are mortal enemies. It's only natural that he wants to kill Senior Brother Duan Lingtian. The entire Moon Illumination sect was in an uproar because of the mirror image that appeared in the sky. Many of them were worried about Duan Lingtian. In by Li Hong's mansion, Feng Wudao and the rest also saw the mirror image in the sky. The mirror image in the sky could be seen from any corner of the Moon Illumination sect. It was impossible for them not to see it since they were cultivating the Saint-grade martial tactic in the courtyard. What's that? Feng Wudao and the rest did not know about the mirror image talisman, so they had no idea what the mirror image in the sky was. *T. When Bai Li Hong saw the mirror image in the sky and saw Lu Huan attacking Duan Lingtian, horror dawned on his face. Those who were not in the know might have thought he was worried about Duan Lingtian. However, ever since he found out about Duan Lingtian's strength, he was not worried about Duan Lingtian's safety at all. Duan Lingtian's strength had already surpassed his. Even if Lu Huan attacked him from behind, he would not be able to hurt him at all. There was no need for him to guess. He knew the outcome would be Lu Huan's death. Chapter 1554. Who's that? How vicious? Bai Li Hong's expression was grave. He wanted to tear the mirror image in the sky apart, but he knew there was nothing he could do. Once the mirror image talisman was activated, unless one was a Saint Stage powerhouse, it would be impossible to destroy it. At this moment, Bai Li Hong hated himself for being too weak. He could not tear the mirror image in the sky apart for his junior brother. Sect leader and the others are fine, but if Qian Kong sees this, the moment Bai Li Hong thought of this, he became even more anxious. Duan Lingtian? He's Duan Lingtian? At the same time, Jiang Wei, the sect leader of Moon Illumination sect, also learned that the purple-clad young man in the sky screen mirror image was Duan Lingtian. Horror dawned on him immediately. Naturally, he knew about the conflict between Lu Huan and Duan Lingtian. However, it did not cross his mind that Lu Huan would be so deranged that he actually wanted to kill Duan Lingtian. At this moment, Jiang Wei was slightly regretful. He regretted that he did not secretly execute Lu Huan first. He could imagine how furious Elder Bai Li would be if he saw this. He might even vent his anger on him and the entire Moon Illumination sect. That was not something he wanted to see. At the same time, apart from Qian Kong, horror dawned on the other supreme elders as well. Their thoughts were similar to Jiang Wei's. They were worried Lu Huan would see the scene of Lu Huan killing Duan Lingtian. We must shatter the sky screen mirror image. Jiang Wei and the Supreme Elder's eyes turned cold as they prepared to attack together to destroy the sky screen mirror image. However, just as the true yuan on their bodies surged, and they were preparing to attack, the image in the sky screen changed. It was this change that caused them to be stunned. At the same time, they involuntarily dispersed the true yuan that they had gathered. In the sky screen mirror image, Lu Huan launched a sneak attack on Duan Lingtian. He wanted to kill Duan Lingtian with a palm strike. At this critical moment, a layer of golden light rose from Duan Lingtian's body and easily blocked Lu Huan's palm strike that seemed to carry the wrath of a thunderbolt. This was a strong defensive move. At this moment, everyone in the Moon Illumination sect who saw this was trembling in fear. The defensive move Duan Lingtian executed caused them to be shocked. Looking at Elder Lu Huan's attack, it's obvious he didn't hold back at all. I didn't expect senior brother Duan Lingtian would be able to block his attack so easily. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. Since when did senior brother Duan Lingtian become so strong? How? Is senior brother Duan Lingtian could be human? All of the Moon Illumination sect's disciples were stunned by the mirror image that appeared in the sky. Duan Lingtian was Duan Lingtian Tian to you Duan is. Was Duan was. Even an ordinary Paramount Saint Rudiment stage martial cultivator would not be able to easily block Lu Huan's all-out attack. Right? Was. Usually, Bai Li Hong would heave a sigh of relief when he saw this, because his junior brother was safe. However, not only did he not heave a sigh of relief, but his heart was even heavier now. He did not want to see what was going to happen next. At the same time, Feng Wu Dao and the others who were staying in Duan Lingtian's mansion were worried for him when they saw Lu Huan launching a sneak attack on Duan Lingtian. They only heaved a sigh of relief when they saw Duan Lingtian had blocked Lu Huan's attack. What's with the mirror image that appeared in the sky? Why does it feel so real? Feng Wu Dao and the others were puzzled. In the end, Sima Changfeng was the first to react. Do all of you remember there's a Dao talisman called the Mirror Image Talisman, recorded in the jade token we bought from the Merit Pavilion? The scene before us is almost identical to the effect of the Mirror Image Talisman. Seems like it. It's really the effect of the Mirror Image Talisman. It seems like only a Dao Talisman Master above 4-star can draw the Mirror Image Talisman. Are there any 4-star Dao Talisman Masters in the 9 Sect Alliance's district? Upon hearing Sima Changfeng's words, Feng Wu Dao and the others finally regained their senses. That golden light shield seems to be formed by streaks of golden sword rays. Such a powerful defense, it's obvious that it's an extremely high-grade defensive technique. In the sky, the few Saint Stage powerhouses from the Moon Illumination sect saw through Duan Lingtian's defense with just a glance. Duan Lingtian is actually so powerful. Jiang Wei was also shocked by the scene before his eyes. After a while, a smile appeared on his face again. I can't believe there's such a monstrous martial Dao prodigy in our Moon Illumination sect. With a little training, it's not impossible for such a prodigy to lead our Moon Illumination sect to a higher level in the future and make our Moon Illumination sect a 6th-rate force. At this moment, Jiang Wei's heart was filled with excitement. The way he looked at Duan Lingtian was as though he had just seen a treasure. Apart from Qian Kong, the eyes of the other Supreme Elders glittered when they saw this. Although they had heard of Duan Lingtian before this, they thought he was just a lucky guy. If it was not for Bai Li Hong, he would be nothing. However, at this moment, they finally realized the young man, whom Bai Li Hong had taken as his junior brother, was not an ordinary person. He was not even 40 years old, but he was already so powerful. How heaven-defying would he be when he grew up in the future? Qian Kong's expression was extremely grave. This is Duan Lingtian, Bai Li Hong's junior brother? I can't believe he's so powerful at such a young age. It seems like Zhao Feng's death has something to do with him as well. The moment Qian Kong thought of this, killing intent flashed in his eyes. Soon after, the image in the sky changed again. In the image, Duan Lingtian turned around and confronted Lu Huan. At this moment, Lu Huan cast his True Energy Consolidated Weapon, True Energy Consolidated Beast, and True Energy Consolidated Territory. He even took out his Saint Weapon and prepared to kill Duan Lingtian with all his might. Although the image recorded by the mirror image talisman was silent, people who could read people's lips could read people's lips. However, there were some people who could read lips. They could tell what the other person was saying from the movement of their lips. Coincidentally, Qian Kong was one of them. Lu Huan opened his mouth, causing his expression to turn grave. "You want to kill Zhao Feng with just you? Dream on." This was what Lu Huan said. "You'll find out soon whether it's a dream or not." This was what Duan Lingtian said. What happened next shocked everyone in the Moon Illumination sect. To be more precise, it shocked everyone in the Moon Illumination sect, who saw the image in the sky. Faced with Lu Huan, who had used all his techniques, Duan Lingtian also cast his true energy consolidated beast technique. At this moment, everyone realized Duan Lingtian was already a perfection Saint Rudiment stage martial cultivator. The true energy consolidated beast was the symbol of a perfection Saint Rudiment stage powerhouse. However, what shocked them even more was what happened next. They could clearly see the giant beast phenomenon above Duan Lingtian's head was a dragon. It was a divine dragon. A real divine dragon. To most of the people present on the scene, a dragon was no doubt a legendary existence. Among the people present on the scene, only Feng Wudao and a few others had seen a dragon before. However, Duan Lingtian had consolidated the divine dragon phenomenon. Moreover, judging by the blood energy surrounding the divine dragon phenomenon, it was obvious it was consolidated with the blood essence. In other words, Duan Lingtian had obtained the divine dragon's blood essence in the past. At this moment, many people, including Jiang Wei, could not help but feel jealous. They were jealous of Duan Lingtian's fortuitous encounter to obtain the divine dragon's blood essence before he reached the perfection Saint Rudiment stage. In the next moment, they clearly saw Duan Lingtian's divine dragon phenomenon easily defeated Lu Huan's divine weapon phenomenon and giant beast phenomenon. How powerful! As expected of a divine dragon, I can't believe the giant beast phenomenon Duan Lingtian, consolidated with his true energy consolidated beast, is actually a divine dragon phenomenon. The group of Moon Illumination sect's elders exclaimed one after another. Senior brother Duan Lingtian is really heaven-defying. Exactly. Not only has his cultivation base broken through to the perfection Saint Rudiment stage, but he has also consolidated such a heaven-defying divine dragon phenomenon. Senior brother Duan Lingtian has really created a miracle among the younger generation of our Moon Illumination sect. I wonder if senior brother Duan Lingtian can defeat Elder Lu Huan. After all, Elder Lu Huan is at the paramount Saint Rudiment stage and has a more powerful true energy consolidated territory technique. The group of Moon Illumination sect's disciples watched the scene in the sky with anticipation in their eyes. At this moment, Duan Lingtian told them the answer with his actions. All they saw was Duan Lingtian casually taking out a sword. With a wave of his hand, the air vibrated and Lu Huan's stagnant territory was torn apart. Lu Huan was still in shock when Duan Lingtian swung his sword again and severed one of Lu Huan's arms. Due to the fact that it was a mirror image recorded by Tai Wu, a saint stage powerhouse, using the mirror image talisman, every detail was recorded clearly. Even the Moon Illumination sect's disciples with a weak cultivation base could see the entire process clearly. They did not miss any details, just because Duan Lingtian's speed was too fast. How powerful! How terrifying! Everyone in the Moon Illumination sect, whether it was the group of elders, the group of deacons, or even the group of disciples, was dumbfounded. They were all shocked by the technique Duan Lingtian had displayed. Those who had a conflict with Duan Lingtian before gasped one after another as they were drenched in sweat. Naturally, they were drenched in cold sweat. A few moments later, everyone saw Duan Lingtian piercing Lu Huan's chest with his sword, killing him instantly. At this moment, nobody pitied Lu Huan anymore. They all thought he deserved it. After all, he was the one who wanted to kill Duan Lingtian first. We've avenged Master. In the Moon Illumination sect's outer court area, Ling Yin and Xiong Hu looked at each other. They could see the excitement in each other's eyes. God bless our moon illumination sect. God bless our moon illumination sect. Jiang Wei, the sect leader of Moon Illumination Sect, and the few other Moon Illumination Sect's supreme elders were extremely excited. They were thrilled that a monster like Duan Lingtian had appeared in the Moon Illumination Sect. They saw the future of the Moon Illumination Sect in Duan Lingtian. Chapter 1555. When Qian Kong left, Bai Li Hong had also left his mansion and arrived near the Moon Illumination Sect's monastery gate. What he wanted to do was to intercept Duan Lingtian and make him leave the Moon Illumination Sect. Naturally, the reason he wanted to do that was because of Qian Kong. In his opinion, Qian Kong must be certain that Duan Lingtian was the one who killed Zhao Feng when he saw what happened. Based on Qian Kong's attitude toward Zhao Feng's death, it was impossible for him to let Duan Lingtian go. As soon as Bai Li Hong left, Qian Kong arrived at his mansion. His face turned grave immediately when he discovered Duan Lingtian was nowhere to be found. Don't tell me he hasn't returned yet. The moment Qian Kong thought of this, he searched the entire Moon Illumination Sect as fast as he could. In the end, he appeared near the Moon Illumination Sect's monastery gate and waited there. Bai Li Hong. When Qian Kong arrived near the Moon Illumination Sect's monastery gate, he noticed Bai Li Hong immediately. His face turned grave immediately. However, he did not want to alert Duan Lingtian. Instead, he hid at the side. Bai Li Hong was waiting, and so was he. As the person involved, Duan Lingtian had no idea what was happening in the Moon Illumination Sect at all. Currently, he was returning to the Moon Illumination Sect's estate, as though nothing had happened. Soon after, he saw a little black dot appearing in the distance. As he continued to move forward, the little black dot grew bigger and eventually transformed into the Moon Illumination Sect's estate. The Moon Illumination Sect's monastery gate also appeared clearly before his eyes. I'm back. A smile appeared on Duan Lingtian's face when he saw the Moon Illumination Sect's monastery gate. I'll find some time to return to Mound Hill City and inform teacher about Lu Huan's death. I'm sure teacher will be very happy at that time. Duan Lingtian. Just as Duan Lingtian continued to make his way to the Moon Illumination Sect's monastery gate, a thunderous roar resonated from the Moon Illumination Sect's monastery gate. It was so loud that it spread in all directions. At once, everyone in the Moon Illumination Sect's estate heard the thunderous roar. At this moment, the sky mirror image above the Moon Illumination Sect disappeared. Most of the people in the Moon Illumination Sect's estate were stunned for a moment before they rushed toward the Moon Illumination Sect's monastery gate one after another. They could faintly sense that something interesting was going to happen at the place where the roar came from. It's Martial Uncle Qian. When the group of Moon Illumination Sect's elders and disciples rushed out of the Moon Illumination Sect's monastery gate, sect leader Jiang Wei, who was hovering in the sky, could not help but be stunned when he recognized the owner of the voice. Junior Brother Qian? Senior Brother Qian. At this moment, the other few Moon Illumination Sect's saint stage powerhouses, who were also the supreme elders of the Moon Illumination Sect, could not help but frown. Not good. Jiang Wei was the first to react, and his expression changed drastically. What? The other few supreme elders of the Moon Illumination Sect immediately looked at Jiang Wei. Martial Uncle Qian must have seen Duan Lingtian's strength. He must be certain that Duan Lingtian killed Zhao Feng. We must stop him. The moment his words left his mouth, Jiang Wei vanished from his spot and rushed out of the Moon Illumination Sect's monastery gate as fast as he could. When the other supreme elders heard his words, they immediately regained their senses as well. Horror dawned on them as well. Junior Brother Qian is foolish. Senior Brother Qian is too rash. As the few of them caught up to Jiang Wei, they could not help but curse him inwardly. At this moment, they also realized the severity of the matter. They knew Qian Kong's temper very well. Since he was certain Duan Lingtian had the strength to kill Zhao Feng, he would definitely not show mercy to Duan Lingtian. After all, he was the kind of person who would rather kill 1,000 innocent people than let one person go. However, in their eyes, Duan Lingtian was the Moon Illumination Sect's treasure, and shouldered the Moon Illumination sect's future. Due to this reason, they would not allow Qian Kong to touch Duan Lingtian. However, based on the current situation, the situation was not optimistic. Even if they arrived in time, Duan Lingtian might have already been killed by Qian Kong. On the other hand, Duan Lingtian was also taken aback by the roar that resonated in the distance. He was still in a daze. "Junior brother, run!" Another familiar voice resonated in the air. He could tell it was his senior brother, Bai Li Hong's voice. At this moment, Bai Li Hong's voice was filled with anxiety, as though he had encountered something that caused him to panic. Upon hearing Bai Li Hong's voice, Duan Lingtian panicked for no reason. At this moment, he felt a suffocating feeling spread throughout his body. Around his body, the area within 100 meters of him instantly turned into a golden ocean. Territory. Moreover, it's not an ordinary Paramount Saint Rudiment Stage's territory. This was the thought that appeared in Duan Lingtian's mind at this moment. Horror dawned on him immediately. Even at this moment, he still had no idea what was going on. Why would someone who seemed to be a Saint Stage powerhouse make a move on him? "Duan Lingtian, I'll make you accompany my son, Zhao Feng, in death." Just when Duan Lingtian was almost suffocated by the golden ocean-like territory and could not breathe at all, the person who had roared earlier shouted at Duan Lingtian through voice transmission. Duan Lingtian, who was already on the verge of suffocating, almost fainted when he heard this voice transmission. At this critical moment, under the heavy pressure, the vast true energy in Duan Lingtian's qi swept out and quickly flowed through his 99 saint veins. With the help of the 9 dragons conveyance, the true energy completed a major circulatory cycle in just a blink of an eye before it whistled and rushed into Duan Lingtian's qi. In an instant, the qi in between Duan Lingtian's eyebrows trembled and seemed to explode. The feeling of fainting appeared again. However, this time, Duan Lingtian did not feel oppressed. Instead, he felt his body and mind lightened. All of this was because he had made a breakthrough. Under the heavy pressure, he had completed his breakthrough to the Paramount Saint Rudiment stage. Everything was just a matter of time. Originally, Duan Lingtian was only a step away from the Paramount Saint Rudiment stage. He had not cultivated for such a long time on the 3rd level of the 7 Treasures Exquisite Pagoda for nothing. However, due to some reasons, he had not been able to break through the last layer of paper. This time, due to the pressure from the territory of the suspected Saint Stage powerhouse and the thunderous voice transmission, Duan Lingtian managed to complete the final breakthrough and take the most crucial step. After he had broken through to the Paramount Saint Rudiment stage, although the pressure from the Golden Ocean was still there, it was not as strong as before. However, the suffocating sense of crisis was getting stronger and stronger. At the same time, he felt a terrifying aura sweeping toward him at an extremely exaggerated speed. Without any hesitation, Duan Lingtian instantly activated his strange pupil. His spiritual energy was rapidly depleted, causing the scene in his field of vision to slow down. Seizing this critical moment, Duan Lingtian quickly took out the Jasper Celestial Sword. The true energy in his qi that had expanded after his breakthrough continuously surged into the Jasper Celestial Sword. However, in the end, Duan Lingtian still retained 10% of his true energy. 90% of his true energy was quickly injected into the Jasper Celestial Sword. At this moment, the Jasper Celestial Sword began to tremble violently as it emitted a terrifying aura. The green energy on the sword was constantly flashing, causing the surrounding air to tremble. Without any hesitation or time for Duan Lingtian to think, Duan Lingtian raised his hand and swung the Jasper Celestial Sword out. At this moment, Duan Lingtian discovered that his heart was extremely calm. It was as though he had vaguely established a connection with the Jasper Celestial Sword in his hand. This connection was magical and difficult to describe with words. However, Duan Lingtian could clearly feel it. Whoosh! The sound of the sword whistling in the air disappeared in a flash, as though it was a flash in Duan Lingtian's ears. At the same time, under the watchful eyes of the group of Moon Illumination sect's elders and disciples who had rushed out of the Moon Illumination sect's estate, an old figure that was not far away from Duan Lingtian was directly slashed into half. At the same time, the golden ocean in the sky disappeared as well. Junior Uncle Qian. Junior Brother Qian. Senior Brother Qian. At the instant the old figure was slashed into half by the sword ray. A few sorrowful cries resonated in the sky far away. It was none other than Jiang Wei, the sect leader of Moon Illumination Sect, and the few supreme elders of Moon Illumination Sect. Initially, they were a little disappointed. They thought Duan Lingtian would not be able to escape from Qian Kong's evil clutches. However, the sudden scene in front of them left them completely dumbfounded. Duan Lingtian had killed Qian Kong with just a sword strike. At the same time, not only were Jiang Wei and the others dumbfounded, but even Tai Wu, who was hiding in the sky and watching the show, was shocked as well. Cold sweat even broke out on his forehead. Thank goodness! Thank goodness! At this moment, there was only one thought in his mind. He was thankful that he did not snatch the mysterious sword in Duan Lingtian's hand. Although he knew his strength was far more powerful than Qian Kong, who had been killed. However, even he did not dare to say he could block that sword strike with 100% certainty. That sword strike was too fast and too powerful. It was so fast that it shocked him. It was so powerful that it made his heart tremble. Junior brother, run. Although Bai Li Hong was also shocked by Duan Lingtian's domineering sword strike, he was the first to react and urged Duan Lingtian to run. Perhaps he did not know how Duan Lingtian could perform such a terrifying sword strike, but he could vaguely sense that Duan Lingtian must have met certain conditions to perform that sword strike. It would be difficult for Duan Lingtian to perform the same sword strike now. I'll protect your family and friends, Bai Li Hong continued to urge him. Qian Kong. Upon hearing Bai Li Hong's words, Duan Lingtian's train of thought instantly became clear. So Zhao Feng is really Qian Kong's illegitimate son. At this moment, Duan Lingtian recalled Qian Kong's voice transmission and realized his previous guess was right. Zhao Feng was really Qian Kong's illegitimate son. However, he could not figure out how Qian Kong knew he was the one who killed Zhao Feng. Chapter 1556. However, Duan Lingtian knew there was no time for him to think about it. Qian Kong was the supreme elder of the Moon Illumination Sect. As a saint stage powerhouse, he was like a guardian in the Moon Illumination Sect. Killing Qian Kong in front of so many people meant that he had committed a serious crime. Most importantly, he had killed Qian Kong with just one strike of his sword. It was not because he was powerful, but because he had borrowed the Jasper Celestial Sword's energy. Borrowing the Jasper Celestial Sword's energy had cost him 90% of his true energy. Currently, he only had 10% of his true energy left in his Qi. Senior brother, I'll leave Uncle Feng and the others in your hands. The moment the thought left his mind, Duan Lingtian thought to himself. At that instant, sword qi filled the area within a 100-meter radius with him as the center. Streaks of incomparably sharp sword light whizzed past, setting off the area within a radius of 100 meters, as if it was a sword domain. This was the territory that Duan Lingtian had mastered after he had broken through to the Paramount Saint Rudiment stage. However, Duan Lingtian could not control what kind of territory the true energy consolidated territory was. However, after breaking through to the Paramount Saint Rudiment stage, Duan Lingtian knew what kind of territory he had comprehended. It was the 10,000 swords territory. The reason Duan Lingtian comprehended this territory was because he knew it had something to do with the Sovereign Heart Sword. When Duan Lingtian found out what kind of territory he had comprehended, he naturally knew what it was. Due to this reason, 10,000 swords filled the area within a 100-meter radius with him as the center. After a while, the 10,000 swords flew toward him rapidly. From an outsider's perspective, it looked like the 10,000 swords were going to pierce his heart. The scene of 10,000 swords whistling through the air was extremely spectacular. Only the ear-piercing sound of swords whistling through the air was left in the wake of the 10,000 swords. In just a blink of an eye, the 10,000 swords gathered under Duan Lingtian's feet and transformed into a solid and dazzling sword. Then, it seemed as though it had transformed into a streak of light as it disappeared into the distance. What a terrifying territory. What a fast speed. His speed is much faster than an imminent Saint Stage powerhouse, or even a Saint Stage powerhouse. High up in the sky, Taiwu was also shocked when he saw this scene. However, looking at his complexion, he doesn't seem to be in a good condition. It's very obvious that using that mysterious treasured sword earlier also consumed a lot of his true energy. It's impossible for him to perform a second sword strike in such a short time. As a Saint Stage powerhouse, Taiwu's judgment was not bad. It was easy for him to see through Duan Lingtian's current situation. Therefore, he immediately chased after him. When Taiwu chased after him, the few Moon Illumination Sect's Supreme Elders, including Jiang Wei, the sect leader of Moon Illumination Sect, finally regained their senses. Their expressions were grave as they chased after Duan Lingtian. They had never imagined that things would develop to such an extent. Duan Lingtian had killed Qian Kong. Who was Qian Kong? That was a powerhouse from the older generation in the Moon Illumination Sect. He was a Grand Elder of the Moon Illumination Sect, whom they had known for many years. Yet today, he had fallen before their eyes. The person who killed him was a Moon Illumination Sect's disciple. Although they thought highly of Duan Lingtian, and felt that if Duan Lingtian continued to grow, he would definitely lead the Moon Illumination Sect to glory. Things had developed to such an extent that they could no longer control it. It would be fine if they were the only ones who saw Duan Lingtian killing Qian Kong. However, the problem was that more than half of the Moon Illumination Sect's people had seen it. Although Qian Kong was the Moon Illumination Sect's Supreme Elder, and many of the Moon Illumination Sect's disciples had never seen him before, the Moon Illumination Sect's elders, and some of the Moon Illumination Sect's disciples recognized him. If someone who killed a Moon Illumination Sect's Grand Elder, like Qian Kong, could still be nurtured by the sect, and become the sect's leader in the future, it would undoubtedly be a huge joke. Therefore, the moment Duan Lingtian killed Qian Kong, they knew the Moon Illumination Sect could no longer tolerate Duan Lingtian. Since they could no longer tolerate him, and Duan Lingtian might hate the Moon Illumination Sect because of Qian Kong, they were left with only one choice, which was to kill Duan Lingtian to prevent future troubles. They could not take the risk. If they took the risk, Duan Lingtian would undoubtedly be a potential threat to the Moon Illumination Sect when he grew stronger. They had to nip this threat in the bud. At this moment, they had already forgotten about Bai Li Hong. Although a 3-star Saint Inscription Master was rare, it was insignificant in the face of the sect's survival. While they were chasing after Duan Lingtian, sect leader Jiang Wei did not forget to instruct the few vice sect leaders. Keep an eye on Duan Lingtian. Don't let him and the people in his mansion leave. Several vice sect leaders rushed back to Bai Li Hong's residence at the first moment. They were just in time to intercept Bai Li Hong, who was preparing to leave with Feng Wu Dao and the others. To be more precise, they had intercepted Bai Li Hong and Feng Wu Dao's group. Elder Bai Li, the sect master has ordered that you and the people in your residence are not allowed to leave. If you have offended him in any way, I hope that you can forgive us. A few vice sect masters surrounded Bai Li Hong and the others, and one of them said, "Gentlemen, how about we make a deal?" Bai Li Hong looked at the few vice sect leaders and asked indifferently. He did not panic. "What deal?" Several vice sect leaders frowned. "If you let me go, I'm willing to give each of you a saint weapon inscribed with 3 3-star saint inscriptions." Bai Li Hong said. Bai Li Hong's words lit up the eyes of the few vice sect leaders. "Are you serious? I can swear on the lightning penalty oath. However, it's not convenient for me to swear on the lightning penalty oath in the sect now. I'm sure the vice sect masters don't want others to hear the resonance of the 9x9 heavenly tribulation, right?" Bai Li Hong added. "Let's go." At this moment, the few vice sect leaders looked at each other. Not only did they disobey sect leader Jiang Wei's order, but they even personally escorted Bai Li Hong, Feng Wu Dao, and the others out of the Moon Illumination Sect's estate. Naturally, they were extremely discreet when they left. Nobody noticed them at all. The reason they did so was because the temptation of Bai Li Hong's promise was too great. Even the sect leader and the few supreme elders did not have a saint weapon inscribed with 3-star saint inscriptions, let alone them. To them, Bai Li Hong's life and death were of no importance. The most important thing was to obtain the benefits in their hands. As for the sect leader Jiang Wei, they could completely shirk the responsibility and say that they had chased after Bai Li Hong, but failed to catch up to him. When they arrived at a place far away from the Moon Illumination sect's estate, Bai Li Hong swore on the lightning penalty oath and negotiated a deal with the few vice sect leaders of the Moon Illumination sect. The few vice sect leaders of the Moon Illumination sect were satisfied and let him go. Although they had yet to obtain a saint weapon inscribed with 3-star saint inscriptions, they were not worried that Bai Li Hong would go back on his word, since he had swore on the lightning penalty oath. Moreover, the lightning penalty oath that Bai Li Hong swore said that he would give each of them a saint weapon inscribed with 3-star saint inscriptions within 3 years. 3 years was not a long time to them. Naturally, Jiang Wei, the sect leader of the Moon Illumination sect, was unaware of what had happened here. Otherwise, he would be so angry that he would throw up blood. When Bai Li Hong brought Feng Wu Dao and the others away from the Moon Illumination sect, the group of Moon Illumination sect's elders, deacons, and disciples near the mountain gate of the Moon Illumination sect's estate had already regained their senses. The scene that had happened earlier had given them a great shock. The Moon Illumination sect's elders who recognized Qian Kong, in particular, muttered in shock. Duan Ling Tian. He actually killed Elder Qian Kong? How's this possible? Elder Qian Kong is our Moon Illumination sect's supreme elder. He's a saint stage powerhouse. But he? Unbelievable. Unbelievable. How's it possible for Duan Ling Tian to be so powerful? The group of Moon Illumination sect's elders were shocked from the bottom of their hearts. Some of them were even trying to confirm that they were not dreaming. Elder Qian Kong? Supreme Elder? Saint Stage Powerhouse. Naturally, the group of Moon Illumination sect's disciples heard the words of the Moon Illumination sect's elders. At once, the identity of the old man who was killed with their own eyes spread out. Qian Kong was the Moon Illumination sect's supreme elder, a saint stage powerhouse. Oh my God! I'm not dreaming, am I? Senior brother Duan Ling Tian killed Elder Lu Huan and Elder Qian Kong? Elder Qian Kong is a saint stage powerhouse. A saint stage powerhouse is almost invincible to martial and Dao cultivators below the saint stage. Don't tell me senior brother Duan Ling Tian is also a saint stage powerhouse? When senior brother Duan Ling Tian left earlier, he seemed to have cast his territory with the true energy consolidated territory. His strength is not as simple as what he showed in front of Elder Lu Huan. The true energy consolidated territory is the symbol of a paramount saint rudiment stage powerhouse. Senior brother Duan Ling Tian is at least a paramount saint rudiment stage powerhouse. Paramount saint rudiment stage? In my opinion, senior brother Duan Ling Tian is a saint stage powerhouse. Otherwise, how could he kill Elder Qian Kong? I also think senior brother Duan Ling Tian is a saint stage powerhouse. The group of Moon Illumination sect's disciples discussed among themselves. When they mentioned Duan Ling Tian, their faces were filled with awe and shock. They were not the only ones. Even the group of Moon Illumination sect's elders did not realize that although Duan Ling Tian had killed Qian Kong, he had cast a heavy blow. Apart from Tai Wu from the Mountainshade Black Market, even the few saint stage powerhouses, including Jiang Wei, the sect leader of Moon Illumination sect, had noticed this as well. They knew it would be difficult for Duan Ling Tian to cast such a powerful sword strike again in a short period of time. That was why they dared to chase after him. Otherwise, how would they dare to chase after a powerhouse who could kill Qian Kong in just one strike? Naturally, the reason they chased after Duan Ling Tian was not only to kill Duan Ling Tian to prevent future trouble, but they could also see how extraordinary the sword in Duan Ling Tian's hand was. As saint stage powerhouses, apart from having a good eyesight, they also had a keen sense that far surpassed ordinary martial artists. Chapter 1557. Due to this reason, the few saint stage powerhouses, including Jiang Wei, the sect leader of Moon Illumination sect, coveted the sword in Duan Lingtian's hand. Due to this reason, they chased after him without any hesitation. In the distance, Duan Lingtian's face was turning paler as he flew on his sword. The sword strike he used to kill Qian Kong earlier seemed simple, but it had actually depleted 90% of his true energy. The remaining 10% of his true energy had been used to form the 10,000 Swords territory using the True Energy Consolidated Territory. Subsequently, the 10,000 Swords territory transformed into a flying sword and carried Duan Lingtian away from the Moon Illumination sect. One must admit that the flying sword was very fast. However, due to its fast speed, it consumed a lot of energy as well. After flying for a short distance, Duan Lingtian discovered that the true energy in his body was almost depleted. Meanwhile, the spiritual energy in his mind was almost depleted due to the strange pupil that he had cast earlier. His true energy was almost depleted, and his spiritual energy was almost depleted as well. Currently, Duan Lingtian only felt extremely uncomfortable. This was not physical discomfort, but it was mental discomfort. What should I do? The few Saint Stage powerhouses from the Moon Illumination sect will definitely catch up with me. After killing Qian Kong, Duan Lingtian noticed a few figures flying out from the sky above the Moon Illumination sect's estate. They were none other than the few Saint Stage powerhouses from the Moon Illumination sect. Although he could kill Qian Kong with a single sword strike, it was all thanks to the Jasper Celestial Sword. Without the Jasper Celestial Sword, he would only be invincible below the Saint Stage, even if he had broken through to the Paramount Saint Rudiment stage. Without the Jasper Celestial Sword, he might not even be a match for the weakest powerhouses above the Saint Stage, let alone killing a Saint Stage powerhouse with a single strike. Currently, using the Jasper Celestial Sword took a huge toll on him. He had consumed 90% of his true energy to kill Qian Kong. They're catching up to us soon. At the same time, Hualao's voice resonated from the Seven Treasures Exquisite Pagoda to remind Duan Lingtian. Hualao, what should I do now? Duan Lingtian smiled bitterly. Not only did the flying sword beneath his feet slow down, it even began to fade, as if it could disappear at any moment. Find a place that won't be exposed to wind and rain. Then put the Seven Treasures Exquisite Pagoda inside. As long as they don't destroy the surrounding environment, you should be safe. Hualao pondered for a moment and reminded him. As soon as Hualao said this, Duan Lingtian naturally guessed Hualao's intention. That works. Thinking of this, Duan Lingtian did not hesitate. He stepped on the flying sword and descended from the sky. He directly rode the sword into a dense forest, and a huge rock appeared in front of him. That's it. Duan Lingtian mobilized his remaining true qi and lifted the boulder. Then, he dug a hole under the boulder and threw the Seven Treasures Exquisite Pagoda into it. Then, before the boulder fell again, he entered the Seven Treasures Exquisite Pagoda with a single thought. Boom! As the boulder fell, the small hole where the Seven Treasures Exquisite Pagoda was completely covered. It was not afraid of wind and rain at all. Under such circumstances, unless the pursuers behind him went crazy and destroyed the surrounding environment, it was impossible to force Duan Lingtian to show himself. After Duan Lingtian entered the Seven Treasures Exquisite Pagoda, he immediately went to the third level of the Seven Treasures Exquisite Pagoda. Apart from recovering his true energy, he also began to recover his spiritual energy. To him, this was an urgent matter. While Duan Lingtian was hiding, Tai Wu, the Saint Stage powerhouse from the Mountain Shade Black Market stationed in the Nine Sect Alliance's district, also appeared in the sky above the forest where Duan Lingtian was hiding. He's hiding. Tai Wu looked at the forest beneath his feet and smirked coldly. Then, as though he had noticed something, his eyes narrowed before he hid again. While Tai Wu was hiding, Jiang Wei, the sect leader of Moon Illumination sect, and a few other Moon Illumination sect's supreme elders also appeared in the sky above the forest. They stopped moving and looked around. His aura seems to have disappeared in this place. Jiang Wei said with a frown, "Let's look around." At once, the group of Saint Stage powerhouses from the Moon Illumination sect split up to patrol in the sky, while the rest entered the forest and began a thorough search. As saint stage powerhouses, their spiritual energy had already given birth to the divine consciousness. Nothing could hide from their divine consciousness. Tai Wu, who was hiding in the sky, had a grave expression on his face. He was not afraid of any of the saint stage powerhouses from the Moon Illumination sect. However, if these saint stage powerhouses from the Moon Illumination sect joined forces, he was no match for them. Due to this reason, no matter how anxious he was, worried that Jiang Wei and the others would beat him to it and snatch the mysterious treasured sword from Duan Lingtian, there was nothing he could do. All he could do was watch. I hope you'll hide well and not be discovered by them. Otherwise you'll disappoint me, Tai Wu thought to himself. His words were obviously directed at Duan Lingtian. One could imagine how speechless Duan Lingtian would be if he heard Tai Wu's words. While Tai Wu was feeling anxious, the group of people from the Moon Illumination sect searched the surroundings for an entire hour before they finally gathered again. However, all of them returned empty-handed. Upon seeing this, Tai Wu sighed in relief. We didn't find him. Jiang Wei frowned. His aura clearly disappeared here. Don't tell me he can fly or burrow into the ground. Perhaps he has some way to remove his aura and prevent us from detecting it. One of the Moon Illumination sect's supreme elders speculated. That's possible. Another supreme elder of the Moon Illumination sect agreed with this supreme elder of the Moon Illumination sect. That's the only possibility. Otherwise, how could a martial cultivator, who hasn't even entered the saint stage, escape from our divine consciousness? In the end, the few saint stage powerhouses from the Moon Illumination sect, including Jiang Wei, reached a consensus. How would they know that Duan Lingtian's aura was also isolated by the Seven Treasures Exquisite Pagoda after he entered it? As a celestial supreme treasure, the Seven Treasures Exquisite Pagoda was still capable of this. Now we can only split up and search for him. Soon after, the few saint stage powerhouses from the Moon Illumination sect reached a consensus again. They split into 3 groups and searched for Duan Lingtian's whereabouts in a carpet style. Seeing the few people from the Moon Illumination sect had split up, Tai Wu, who was hiding in the sky, did not show himself. His expression was calm, as though he was waiting for something. Soon after, the few high-ranking officials from the Moon Illumination sect, including Jiang Wei, returned from 3 different directions and gathered again. It was apparent their departure earlier was just an illusion. Their purpose was to lure Duan Lingtian out, since they were not sure if Duan Lingtian was still in this area. Currently, they had confirmed that Duan Lingtian was no longer in this area. At this moment, they finally split up and searched for Duan Lingtian in 3 different directions. At this moment, Tai Wu finally showed himself. Humph. If it wasn't for the fact that I'm the closest to him and know he's hiding in this area, I'm afraid I would have been fooled by him like those trash from the Moon Illumination sect. After Tai Wu showed himself, he looked down at the forest beneath his feet and smirked coldly. Based on his words, it was obvious he was certain Duan Lingtian was still in this area. Duan Lingtian, although I don't know what kind of secret technique you've used to hide, you'll still have to show yourself in front of me. Tai Wu, no matter how strange your secret technique is. Tai Wu sneered and extended both of his arms. At this moment, a surge of vast true energy appeared on each of Tai Wu's arms. It seemed to have transformed into 2 dragons that kept swallowing and hissing. In the next moment, as Tai Wu's arms shook, the 2 dragons transformed from true energy, lashed out at the forest below like 2 huge whips. Wherever they passed, the wind howled, and the crane screamed as though the air had been sucked out. Bang! Bang! At the same time, the 2 dragons landed in the forest, causing the ground to tremble as though there was an earthquake. Although the 2 dragons did not hit the gigantic rock that the Seven Treasures Exquisite Pagoda was hiding in, due to the trembling ground, the gigantic rock was sent flying. At this moment, the Seven Treasures Exquisite Pagoda that was hidden under the gigantic rock was sent flying as well. Before the 4th level of the Seven Treasures Exquisite Pagoda was repaired, the space inside was unstable. Due to this reason, Duan Lingtian, who was hiding in the Seven Treasures exquisite pagoda, and recovering his true energy and spiritual energy, was sent flying out of the pagoda. Since he did not have much true energy left, Duan Lingtian rolled on the ground a few times after he was sent flying out. He was covered in dust and looked extremely wretched. Oh no! At this moment, he finally regained his senses and realized the thing he did not want to happen the most had happened. Originally, he knew he had taken a risk by hiding in such a way. This was because he did not know if his pursuers would destroy the surrounding environment. If it was destroyed, he would be sent out of the Seven Treasures exquisite pagoda immediately, even if he was hiding in it. However, he had no other choice but to take the risk. Now the truth had proven that he was unlucky. I can't believe I still failed. When Duan Lingtian realized he was unlucky, he could not help but sigh inwardly. He immediately looked at the figure that was descending from the sky. However, when he saw the black figure, he could not help but frown. It doesn't seem like any of the Saint Stage powerhouses from the Moon Illumination sect. Moreover, the feeling he gives me doesn't seem like he's from the Moon Illumination sect. The person who had appeared was, naturally, Tai Wu. Duan Lingtian. After Tai Wu appeared, he studied Duan Lingtian with interest. You're quite capable to be able to deceive those trash from the Moon Illumination sect. Unfortunately, you're still too inexperienced to play tricks in front of me, Tai Wu. Who are you? Duan Lingtian's face turned grave. He realized he had guessed correctly. This black-clad middle-aged man was not from the Moon Illumination sect. However, since this person dared to call the Saint Stage powerhouses from the Moon Illumination sect trash, he must be more powerful than the few Saint Stage powerhouses from the Moon Illumination sect. It doesn't matter who I am. All you need to know is that you'll die in my hands today. That you're tuning in to the Li Mei's Wuxia Whispers YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.